Welcome to the live stream. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. I am back with another episode. What do you do, everybody? Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is currently 11:31 a.m. and today's date is the 12th of December 2024. Yes, y'all. I am back. What is going on? Okay, like some of you guys know, the legend, the OG, the 45th, now the 47th, actually was at the New York Exchange and he rang the bell for the New York Exchange. And of course, he is the person of the year, according to Time magazine. Okay, so this guy finally becomes the Time person of the year. Isn't that just amazing? What do you guys think about that? Finally, they gave him the person of the year. Like, finally, about time. Finally, about time. Okay, with that being said, it is your boy Genesis. You know what time it is. I am back here in the premises. You see what I did there? You see what I did there? Okay, I am back, people. With that being said, let's get it, let's get it, let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. We are about to see the man, the legend, speak at the New York Exchange, New York Stock Exchange, and him ringing the opening bell. Let's listen to the OG.
I like this guy. He's going to be my Treasury Secretary. But it's true. I think we're going to have a tremendous run. We have to straighten out some problems, some big problems in the world. When we left, we didn't have any of these problems. We didn't have Russia with Ukraine. We didn't have Israel October 7th. We didn't have the Afghanistan disaster. We didn't have inflation. We had no inflation. And we had a very strong economy. And we're going to do that again, but I think we're going to even up it because now we have experience that we didn't have. Now I know everybody. You know, when I first came in, we came down, Melania and I, a great first lady, who's very popular, by the way. She rang in. She rang in the bell. She rang in the bell. But we came down and we're driving down Pennsylvania Avenue, and it was so beautiful. I said, you know, I've never done this before. I didn't know anybody. I got to the Oval Office, and I'm picking all these big positions, and I didn't really know the people in Washington, but boy, did I get to learn fast. And now we do, and I think we have an incredible staff behind me and others that aren't here, and we're going to do a fantastic job. We're going to create the incentive theory again. In fact, I just announced yesterday, I didn't announce it for this reason, but anybody investing $1 billion or more gets a very expedited approval process because, you know, the approvals, when people come into the country, it takes them, in many cases, 14, 15, 16 years to get the approval. We have Lee is around here someplace. He's in charge of the environment, and that's Lee Zeldin, who ran an incredible race for governor in New York, was a very, very successful guy before that. He was a great congressman, and he's a fantastic lawyer. He's in charge of environmental, and we'll try and push him as much as possible to get those permits very quickly. Like a nuclear power plant, I would say a week would be enough time. What do you think? Is that okay? We're going to get fast approvals, and it's great that we have Lee and all of the people behind. They're all stars in their own way. But it is an honor, and this is a double because usually they don't coordinate the Man of the Year or the Person of the Year with the ringing of the bell. And brilliantly, you picked them both at the same time, and you were all friends, and you said, let's do it. And it takes one trip. It doesn't take two trips. That's okay. We like to save. We like to be able to do it properly. But this is a special group. So many friends in the audience, too. John, great job you've done at ABC. I'm really proud of you, and you've been so nice to me. Otherwise, I wouldn't actually acknowledge you at all. But you have been. That really is. It's a terrific job you've done. But again, I want to thank you. We're going down to ring the bell now, and I could just say that the economy, I believe, is going to be very strong. We do have to solve some problems. We have wars going on that we didn't have. We have a lot of things happening that we didn't have that would have never happened. They would have never happened, but now they have happened. And I want to get them solved. We have to get them solved because ultimately the power of weaponry today is the biggest threat we have, in my opinion. It's not some of the other things that you read about. It's the power of weaponry. The weapons are so powerful, so devastating. And I rebuilt our military. I got to know every one of them, including nuclear weapons. I hated to do it. Actually, I hated to do it. But we did some nuclear weapons that are so devastating and almost makes you very sad as you get them and as they come online. It makes you very sad because you know what the purpose of them is, and you just hope to God that you never have to use them. Because if you do, the world will never be the same. So we have to be very, very smart. We have to be very sharp. We have to be very special to do a job. And I think we'll get it done. And I think we're going to get a lot of people in the room. We've seen it. We were in France where President Macron did a fantastic job with the cathedral, an absolutely fantastic job, of Notre Dame. And it was beautiful. The opening was the opening, and I just got back, and it was something really beautiful. And a lot of world leaders there. We had about 80 world leaders, different countries, and they were all coming together. They all wanted to meet us and meet me as representative of the U.S., and there was a lot of goodwill. But we're going to get some really tremendous goodwill. I was even thinking about inviting certain people to the inauguration, and some people said, wow, that's a little risky, isn't it? And I said, maybe it is. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But we like to take little chances, but that's not a bad chance. Here's a gentleman that's going to do a great job at HUD. Good luck, my friend, right? He's going to be a he's been my friend for a long time. But nice to see you. I haven't shaken his hand yet. Come on. Congratulations. Thank you. Really, you're going to be great. And Ben Carson is your biggest fan in the world. You know that. Ben has been with us for a long time and he's done a fantastic job. Thank you. Good. So, ladies and gentlemen, go on. We're going to put it straight. We're going to give tremendous incentive like no other country has. We're cutting your taxes. We're going to cut them very substantially. We got them down to 21% from probably 42 or 44%, depending on where you are. And we got them down to 21. Everyone said that was a miracle. Now we're getting them down to 15. But only if you make your product here. Otherwise, you pay 21, which is not bad. It's in the middle of the pack. But 15 brings you down to among the lowest. And for those that are running the big companies, those great, big, beautiful companies, nobody's going to be leaving us. You're going to be coming back. You're going to be bringing it back to the United States. We are incentivizing everybody to come back to the United States. We want you back here. Car manufacturers, everybody. And we have one product that nobody has really to the extent that we do. It's called oil and gas. There is no country in the world that has more. We're number one. I brought it to number one during my first term in terms of production. We're going to be number one plus. We'll do numbers that nobody will really see before. And when that happens, prices are going to start coming down because people can't afford their groceries, and they're going to be affording their groceries very soon. I tell the story about a woman who, an old woman, no money, went to a grocery store, had 3 apples. She put them down on the counter, and she looked, and she saw the price, and she said, would you excuse me? And she walked one of the apples back to the refrigerator and came back to pay for the 2 apples. And she left with 2 apples. And the woman at the counter said that was so sad. And when I heard about the story, I said that should never happen in America, and it's not going to happen in America. We're going to do it right. And we're going to take care of our people, and we're going to do things that nobody ever thought even were possible. But we're going to have an economy the likes of which nobody's ever seen before, and everybody's coming back to America. I saw that the other day at the cathedral. They're all saying, we want to come back, we want to come back. And with a couple of changes done by Howard and Scott and some of the great people up here with me, we're going to bring them all back. They're all coming back. So thank you very much. This is a great honor, and ringing the bell will be fantastic. And go out and get them. We're with you all the way. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We're done. Well, it's been a long time I've seen JD Vance. This is like the first time I'm seeing JD Vance in a while. Shout out to JD Vance, man. He did a great job during the election period when he was running with the 45th, now the 47th. I'm glad he's back here with the OG. I'm glad he's doing what he needs to do. Okay. There we go.
Thanks, Jeff. We'll take the president down to the floor. My colleagues are going to help everybody here get down to the floor through the elevators over here, and we'll see you down at the bell.
Out to Connie Pat. No.
Okay,
Connie
folks,
Parrish.
if you have a blue
Shout out
or
to Connie
green
Parrish,
stripe
man.
at the top of your badge, if you can meet
Connie Parrish. How are you doing? Shout out to Connie Parrish. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, I am doing well. How are you doing? How are you doing? My mic sounds different today. Okay. How do you feel about the OG ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange in New York? Well, it's New York, of course. Happy to see you too, Connie. How many of you guys know that the stock market is about to go to the roof right now? How many of you guys know that? Huh? USA worldwide. USA worldwide, people. Worldwide. I mean, think about it. He is now the Times Person of the Year 2024. Finally. Let's get it. Let's go. Let's go. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. It's about to be legendary. Whoa. Getting spicy, y'all. How many of y'all have shares? How many of you buy shares in companies like Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Tesla, Eli Lilly, ETFs, and all? Put it in the chat if you buy shares. If you own a share, put it in the chat. Because you are about to go to the moon. Or even if you have crypto. All right. Look at him. This morning, Bitcoin just went all the way over 100K again. It was like 96K yesterday. But the OG rang the bell and everything changed once more. It's getting spicy worldwide, people. Everybody knows. Everybody knows the OG is back, bro. They ain't no happing around. He's back. You better get yourself together. Because this ain't finna be play. He is back, everybody. He's back. He's back, people. If you forget, he's back, everybody. 2024 Person of the Year, Donald J. Trump. There you have it. There you have it, everybody. Game is changing. If you didn't know, now you know. The game is changing. Adults are back in the White House. Okay. Adults are back in the White House. So with that being said, Donald J. Trump is back. And yeah, everybody's glad and happy that the economy is gonna bounce back. And shout out to Time, man, because they were about to give Kamala Harris the Person of the Year. Like, what are you doing? Well, guess what? They retracted. So now we're back here.
And also today, the former president of the United
Say the
States
billionaires
ducked
go
by his
wild.
towers, able to
Actually,
stay at home
low
last
incomes
night,
to go
and then
wild,
he's going to
madam.
be ringing the bell, and he's got to be exceptionally happy because we know he likes to collect magazine covers.
Right.
But now he doesn't have to mock one up. For the second time, he is Time Magazine's Person of the Year. To me, there are other contenders, but if they did anything but name him, that would be flat out biased.
Well, so Time.com has just released that, and I'm looking at the actual article, and it's great. It said, and the subheadline is, "If what comes next is anything like what he promises, Trump will reshape the nation and the world." And that is why so many people, according to polls, which we're going to get into very shortly, people are really optimistic about the next 4 years. Look, over the last 4 years, things have not gone well. And people are ready for something new, something better.
He was Time Magazine's Person of the Year in 2016 when he won that election. Also up for the other contenders were Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, Kate Middleton, and Kamala Harris. But
And Benjamin Netanyahu.
Well, that's right.
it's hard to believe that the election was just last month. And
Facts.
I mean,
Feels like he's already the president, right?
Exactly. I mean, and to Joe Biden's credit, he's essentially stepped out of the way and allowed Donald Trump to start doing what he's doing right now. And I think when you look at the other people that were considered, he was the only choice. I mean, you can't have Kamala Harris that lost the election, then become the person of the year.
But by the way, as Trump moved in, he has Steve Witkoff over in the Middle East. He's got Tom Homan working the border, doing his appearances.
Already.
So he's got that going. The President of the United States got rid of the FBI director who put so much pressure on him. He actually saluted the moment that he stepped aside. Great day for America. And then he's got his nominees stealing a lot of the spotlight in Capitol Hill. So they're following him around.
He's already calling the Prime Minister of Canada, meeting with him. He's already calling the
But
President
Ainsley,
of
you know what's
Mexico.
different now?
What?
It's not really Trump tweeting or going. It's kind of like the things he's doing rather than the things he's saying.
Action.
You think he learned from mistakes 4 years ago?
I don't know. I think it's definitely intentional. I also don't think he's not in the middle of an investigation. No one's questioning the authenticity of his election.
That's true.
They're not talking about Michael Flynn making a call from Puerto Rico and them saying he's talking to the Russians about some secret deal to toss the country.
Even Fetterman was tweeting on Truth Social. I think he's the first Democratic lawmaker to get on Truth Social and tweeted out that Donald Trump should be pardoned for the case here in New York.
You know what, Ainsley, to your point about why he's doing things differently last time, I think last time when he won, it was kind of a surprise. It's like, okay, I ran for a year, but I won. Now what do I do? He's done it once before.
Yeah, that's true.
Some mistakes are always made along the way, but he's figured out how he has wanted to do it more efficiently, and so far, so good. And
Elise Stefanik, by the way, got the Fetterman endorsement yesterday. That's the first time I've seen a Democrat come out and say that. Yeah, then they took a picture together.
And to your point about Joe Biden just laying low, he's not doing anything except an historic number of pardons and commutations. Over 1,500 issued this morning.
I don't think he's going to give us any comment about that.
I don't think so either.
Anyway, we're calling this the Trump effect, and it is in full swing. The last Fox News poll of the year is showing that the majority of voters feel hopeful about his victory, 54%.
That's right. And with under 6 weeks until Inauguration Day on January 20th at noon, plans are well underway, including an invitation to the China President Xi Jinping to show up live in Washington. If he accepted, he would be the first.
Think about it. Just think about this. The president, commander-in-chief, the man of the head of state in China coming to the inauguration. Trump just knows how to negotiate, bro. He knows how to negotiate. He knows how to negotiate. If this guy comes to the inauguration on January 20, deals are already being made. He definitely will make a deal right there. And then it's like, of course, he's just smart. He knows that is going to be a monumental step for the United States. And this is probably going to be the first time ever the Chinese president comes to the United States on an inauguration day.
Foreign leader to ever attend.
Is that right? That's right? The first foreign
I'm
leader
hoping
to ever attend?
it's in the script.
Okay. And Trump's inaugural fund getting a boost from a surprising source, from Mark Zuckerberg's Meta, donating $1 million as the tech billionaire looks to mend ties with Trump. Because remember, he took him off of Facebook in 2021 and then put him back on a few years later. That tells you a lot that they're mending the relationship.
Yeah. He grew his hair out and he started doing jiu-jitsu. I don't know if it's related.
They're coming back around, everybody. Everybody's coming back around. Mark Zuckerberg's Meta, of course, that's Facebook, as you know, donates $1 million to Trump's inaugural fund. It's like you took this guy's account down back in 2021. Now you want to be friends again. I don't know why you say it's free speech, but yet you take this guy's account down. It's sitting precedent. That's wild.
Yeah,
And he wanted to take on Elon Musk, and it never happened.
Yeah, he's trying to look more like Danny Penny, perhaps.
Oh, God. Oh my goodness, man. Everybody's just trying to be what? Elon Musk? It's hard. You're gonna have to do more than that.
Also, remember, the Zuckerbucks in those key districts made him put his hand on the scale with a shadow banning of the conservative groups and conservative politicians. And he's not the only one putting differences aside. Democratic Senator John Fetterman joining Truth Social to, quote, meet folks where they are, especially in Pennsylvania, by the way, and calling to pardon Trump in his very first post. He also mentioned Hunter.
And
I'm Steve Ducey.
See, Fetterman is smart. He is mending his ways, working his way up to the Republican heart and independent heart. So now, in 2028, if he runs to be the next president of the United States, he may have a chance. People are talking about AOC, talking about all these other guys. Fetterman is a big contender. He is becoming a Republican, maybe by disguise, but if he stays in Democratic Party, he's going to really be a force to reckon with. But if he leaves and become a Republican, still also going to be a force to reckon with. His style, his charisma is different. It's not. It's like it's becoming moderate. It's not like far left. He's becoming a moderate, and people see it. And it started early. Unlike people who actually start changing views when it's time to run for election or re-election. The legendary rang the New York Stock Exchange bell. Let's see that view again. And he was so happy. OG was so glad he rang that bell, bro. USA, 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 USA. Yeah, let's get it. OG is back, everybody. OG is back. Courtney says, beautiful family.
In just a few hours, President-elect
It
Donald
is.
Trump set to ring the
It
opening
is.
bell at the New York Stock Exchange.
This comes as the latest Fox News poll of the year, and the last one shows just how much the economy matters to Americans. 60% say the economy is extremely important for him, Donald Trump, to focus.
So here we go. Lowering the prices, 60% of Americans. It is extremely important that Trump focuses on lowering prices, cutting taxes for individuals, strengthening national defense, deporting illegal immigrants, reducing size of government. So the first things first is lowering prices. Everybody can use a break. Okay, everybody can use a break at this point because everything is so expensive, and it's like, wow, why? My mic is acting funny this morning. I don't know why, but why? Let me see. Why? Why? Okay. So, lowering the prices, cutting taxes, strengthening the national defense, supporting illegals, reducing size of government. These are the most important things to people, to registered voters, to everybody. Because I know for a fact that electricity bills have gone all the way up. I used to pay like $75, $85. Now I'm paying like $220, $210 per month. That's like, come on, man. Come on. Man.
on when he becomes president, and he lowers prices.
So the latest polling also shows a majority believe the border will be more secure with the Trump administration in charge.
All in all, most voters say his victory leaves them feeling hopeful about what lies ahead under the Trump agenda. Incoming White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt joins us now. Good morning.
Congratulations.
Who is optimistic?
Yes. I don't think you've been on the Kirby couch with us since it was named.
I think
since
this
you were
is
named.
the first time. Yes,
How's
that's
it going?
correct.
How are you preparing for it?
Reading and researching and utilizing the brilliant minds we have coming into this cabinet, sitting down with Scott Bessent this week, Senator Kelly Loeffler to talk about SBA, just being a sponge for their wisdom to understand all of the issues. We have a lot of problems as a country, and President Trump is going to take strong
And
action
you have
to fix
Kaylee
these
and you have
problems.
Dana here that
I
you
do,
can always
and they've
lean on.
given me phenomenal advice.
I'm sure you don't need advice from us, but I remember.
Let's hear it, Brian.
But Tony Snow, before he went to the White House, I got this radio show, and I
Yeah.
remember he said to me, I go, what was your prerequisite? Why did you decide to do it? He said, because the president told me, George W. Bush, I could be in the meetings because I didn't want it relayed to me what was
Yes,
happening.
right.
I had to be there. Do you have that type of guarantee?
Absolutely, yes. I have a direct relationship with President Trump. I can call him. He will answer. I've been working for him now for a couple of years. So he's a great boss to work for. And when you ask him a question, he tells you the truth.
This is going to be such a change of pace from the last 4 years because when the people in the briefing room ask actual questions, they get something read out of a binder, and it is not sometimes accurate, and sometimes it's just flat out lie.
Yeah, absolutely. There's certainly been a lack of transparency over the past 4 years. If you talk to reporters off the record, they will tell you they are excited that President Trump will be back in the Oval Office because they know how much access they had to him and his press secretaries in his first term.
Well, it's not just the press that are excited now that they get the access. Now you're going to have a president on record, going to have you having some exchanges back and forth with them. But the country is united right now. Everybody sees the joy. You're seeing people in Manhattan with MAGA hats. You got business CEOs that want to have meetings with the president. They're going to Mar-a-Lago, once criticize him, but saying, we want to work with him. Is the president surprised by that right now?
I don't think so. I mean, I think President Trump understands how the game is played, right? He's been in this world of politics now for many years, but it is great to see the unification that's happening across this country, not just with folks on Main Street, but also on Wall Street. We're going to the New York Stock Exchange today. And also the American people. I feel there's a real palpable spirit out there. People feel more optimistic because they know we're going to have a real leader again who's going to make this country safe and strong and wealthy.
So today, Tom Homan's got an invitation. He's going to follow through with Mayor Adams. I want to talk to you about how you want to do that. We have a sanctuary city. Adams is really hostage to the city council. Do you have a chance to talk to Tom Homan going in, and what do you hope comes out of it?
Certainly. I haven't spoken to Tom Homan about his meeting with Mayor Adams today. I do know Tom Homan is the best and the brightest when it comes to the border, along with Stephen Miller, who will be our chief of staff over policy in the White House, and Governor Kristi Noem, who will be leading DHS. Together, they make...
People say Tom Homan's face looks like the border wall. People say Tom Homan's face looks like the border wall. What do you guys think? This is just wild. And okay, so I'm gonna show y'all something else with the Chicago mayor. Tom Homan is saying if the Chicago mayor tries to impede or stop them from doing their job, he may have to arrest them. I'm gonna play you that video, but let's keep going first.
A very strong team who will be wholly focused on how we can secure the border, and most of all, empowering our local and federal law enforcement to work together in these sanctuary cities, which will be no more when President Trump is back in the White House. And they will find ways legally to shut down the border on day one and to launch this mass deportation effort, which the majority of the American people support. That's why they elected Donald Trump.
Indeed. In fact, there are tens of thousands of people who are in the country illegally, and they should be deported to their home country. The home country is China, and China won't take them back. Maybe that's one of the things the incoming president can talk to Xi Jinping about, because reportedly, and you could confirm this, it sounds like Donald Trump has invited President Xi to the inauguration. So what can you tell us about that?
That is true, yes. And this is an example of President Trump creating an open dialogue with leaders of countries that are not just our allies, but our adversaries and our competitors, too. We saw this in his first term. He got a lot of criticism for it, but it led to peace around this world. He is willing to talk to anyone, and he will always put America's interests first.
Has he RSVP'd?
To be determined.
Okay.
Have other leaders been invited?
Yes. Typically, the inaugural committee extends invitations to the foreign dignitaries of other countries. That's precedent. Our inaugural committee is doing that as well. And so we'll see who shows up.
Do you know in particular with the president and this crowd? Last time there's big controversy about the crowd size. Does the president care if his crowd is bigger than last time, bigger than Barack Obama's, bigger than Joe Biden?
Well, everything we're hearing is going to be a very large crowd. I won't estimate the size. We will see on January 20th. But what I will say on the foreign leader point as well, foreign leaders are lining up to talk to Donald Trump right now. He put out a truth about tariffs, and Justin Trudeau flew to Mar-a-Lago in about 15 minutes. He had a great call with the president of Mexico. And it's not just Mexico and Canada. All of these world leaders understand. You saw in Paris last weekend. He got the full presidential celebration everywhere he went. He had great meetings with the Prince of Wales, and he also talked to the Prime Minister of Italy. So the world knows Donald Trump is back, and America will be back as well.
And the Prince is better looking in person. Yeah, I understand.
He's taller than I thought, right?
Caroline, thank you very much.
America is back, everybody. America is back. Do not sleep on the bicycle. America is back. One thing is for sure. The respect adults are back in the White House. Okay? Respect is back. Now, what is going on with the drones in New Jersey? What is going on? We cannot have this happening when the 47th is coming back to the White House. What? Drones? And guess what? The Congress member said the drones are from Iran's mothership, like that is stationed in the eastern part of the United States. How is that even possible? And guess what? Pentagon said, nope, it's not. Who are we supposed to believe? Anyway, we're going to check that out. But first, I want you to listen to this.
Well, I think it would have been difficult for him to continue there just for optics' sake there, because the FBI had been involved to some degree in some of these investigations of former President Trump here. So the level of trust between the White House and the FBI would have been shaky at best there. So I think Mr. Wray was doing the right thing in having a clean slate, like he mentioned there, and having a fresh director come in there and take the reins going forward.
Yeah, and so tell us about, I mean, what is the sense inside the FBI among the people you're talking to about what this all means for them to have Kash Patel come on in?
With him specifically, I don't know, but I know that morale in the Bureau is low, and I know that recent polling has shown that the American public's trust in the FBI is at its lowest level in years there. So I think there needs to be some level of reform and self-reflection within the organization there. And I think a lot of what the Bureau should be doing going forward there is to maybe decentralize a lot of what has been going on the last several years and put more of the autonomy back into the field offices and the case agents that are running these investigations as opposed to micromanaging them from Washington, D.C.
I want to come back to that in a second, but Geraldo, I mean, the idea that Kash Patel would be the one to reform the FBI, given that, according to a lot of other people who have commented on this, a lot of them don't think that he has the qualifications just sort of in the sort of nuts and bolts of the organization to do the job, but also because, as I mentioned, I mean, he has a list of people that he said he wants to go after, which seems like not the definition of the job.
I don't know a lot about Kash Patel. I've never met him as far as I know. All I know is that he seems to me, from what I read and what I see and hear, is that he's part of the, if not the chairman of, the lunatic wing, the Steve Bannon, Alex Jones wing of the MAGA movement. Throw Matt Gaetz in there, if you will. But Kash Patel, if you're looking for an objective, professional, resurrector, a savior of the FBI, you better not hold your breath waiting for Kash Patel to deliver. I think the one thing that Scott said that I think is very important is that he mentioned how the FBI got too political. That is true. That wasn't Trump. That was James Comey before it was
Chris Wray.
Chris Wray. But James Comey mucked up Hillary Clinton's electoral run, and he went after the president, President Trump, in his first term. That in 2017, President Trump could not. He was like he stepped in dog crap, and he just couldn't get rid of James Comey. He hounded him. Another canine metaphor, but. I think the FBI needs a cleansing, and I think Christopher Wray was heroic in stepping down, but I also think that the Bureau does need some profound introspection.
Heroic in stepping down.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, are you going to wait for Donald Trump to come in and be humiliated and be fired if you're Chris Wray? No. I mean, he absolutely had to do it this way. As for Kash Patel, I mean, Trump thinks he's going to end the growing crime epidemic, dismantle criminal gangs, stop human and drug trafficking. He also, though, has said that he's going to get rid of all the conspirators who he calls journalists, who were part and parcel to the 2020 election and reporting on what were the facts that Biden won and Trump.
Thank you for tuning into the live show. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. Okay, so for the kids and children living in their mom's basement, this is what I got to say. I'm going to start from 2016 to 2020. This guy had First Step Act, which is prison reform. Sure you didn't know that, right? Because mommy was paying the bills. Prison reform, First Step Act, that freed a lot of people that were in jail, in prison, for basically small crimes. Abraham's Accord. All this right here is from 2016 to 2020. His first term. Okay, I'm gonna come right here. During this second term, he hasn't started anyway. He's still the president-elect, 47 president-elects. Yet everybody is flying to Mar-a-Lago to have a conversation with him. But we're not even gonna go there. First Step Act, Abraham's Accord, right to try. Yeah, right to try. Okay. HBCU funding, historic funding. All right. Opportunity zones. Oh yeah, of course you wouldn't know anything about opportunity zones, would you? Of course not. Of course not. Okay. Of course not. Lowest mortgage rate in history. Lowest mortgage rate in history, boys. Ask mommy, she's gonna tell you because she pays the mortgage. She's gonna tell you, bro. Lowest mortgage rate in history. Lowest gas prices in history. Safest borders. No new wars. You didn't have to send billions of munitions to Ukraine. Okay. You didn't have to send billions of dollars for munitions in Ukraine. You didn't even talk about Ukraine and Russia. You didn't talk about Israel and the Palestinian people and Iranian people or Iranian people. You didn't talk about those things because there was no wars. Nobody was trying to find smoke. Nobody wanted smoke with Trump. Nobody wanted smoke with Trump. Guess what? Now everybody's trying you, doing all sort of BS when your president is falling off his plane, snoring and sleeping on world stage. Nobody respects this guy. He said, I will not pardon my son. I would never pardon my son. I believe in the DOJ, Department of Justice. And I believe in the jury of his peers. Guess what he did? He went straight ahead to pardon his son. Yay! The greatest president. Kamala Harris said Joe Biden is the most consequential president of our lifetime, meaning the greatest president of our lifetime. What? And y'all wanted to vote for this lady? Oh, hell no. Nope. I'm so glad she lost. Because what? I even had Democratic colleagues that would say, even after the Joe Biden debate with the OG, the legend, they were still saying, you know what? Biden did so great in the debate against Trump that I would still vote for Biden. I'm like, what? Like, I get it. You can be a Democrat, you can be a Republican. I am an independent, okay? But don't be far left or far right. People don't like to admit that they're far left or far right. You can be far right or far left, and that's just absurd to me. Stay in the middle, open your eyes, and look at the facts. No Ukraine, Russia. You didn't have to send $62 billion of taxpayers' money to Ukraine for munitions. You didn't have to. You didn't have to worry about, oh, what would the Iranian people do in the United States? You didn't have to. Tom Magic says you watch Fox News all the time. I just streamed a video 2 nights ago, or last night, I think 2 nights ago. Van Jones was praising Trump for the First Step Act and said Obama didn't get it done. Like, I know you guys don't like this guy. I know you guys think he's a racist, is it this, is it that. But, of course, poor-minded people don't like Trump. People who have poor minds think Trump is the reason they are poor. So, of course, poor-minded people don't like rich people. Like, this is general knowledge. Poor-minded people don't like rich people because they always think, well, if these rich people can pay their fair share, then we will have something. No, bro. No, bro. No, it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. But it is what it is. Y'all like trickle-down economics, but it doesn't work that way. Okay, you think you can build from the bottom up. Tell me, if you are down, can you pick someone up? You cannot pick someone up if you're down. You have to be up to pick someone from beneath you up. That's how life works. Can I help you if I haven't paid my rent? If I haven't paid my insurance fees? If I haven't paid my electricity bills? How can I send you some money? I can never send you some money because I have to pay my bills first. That's how the economy works. If you're down, how would you bring the people down up? Because you're down with them. Ta, Ta has heard the facts. Now he's there trying to bash me, saying lick the boots. Nah, bro. I'm just a person that I understand real life. I know I don't beg for opportunities. I am going to work my butt off to get what I deserve. And if it doesn't happen immediately, I know in this world, in this lifetime, it's going to happen because I'm a work, work, work. Okay? I'm never going to quit. I'm going to keep going regardless of whatever anybody says, anybody thinks. That's how life should be. This is why I respect the 47th and was once the 45th. With everything y'all did, y'all tried to sue this guy, indicted him. You said he was a felon. The American people still voted for this guy. As a matter of fact, this is the first time in a long time a Republican won the majority vote, the popular vote, electoral college, and all the swing states. With everything y'all did, y'all threw this man's way. He taught the American people never ever give up. He taught the American people never ever give up, keep going, keep fighting, fight, 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 regardless of what you're going through. Focus on yourself, be unstoppable. And that's why this man has inspired millions of Americans to be the president of the United States. And y'all arguing with the world. Everybody's like, yo, this guy, if he comes back as the president of the United States, there would be no war. That's what the world is talking about. Literally. Look at this kid. Genesis, can you define tariffs? Ask mommy, bro.
Trump lost. So that list I would take very seriously.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, this weekend he gave this interview on NBC, and here's what he was saying about the January 6th committee members who he's been targeting with these kinds of comments for a while now. Listen.
For what they did, honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think
I think
should
everybody
go to jail.
anybody that voted in favor.
Are you going to direct your FBI director and your attorney general to send them to jail?
No, not at all. I think that they'll have to look at that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to focus on drill, baby, drill.
It's a classic Trump turn. No, not at all. I'm not going to direct him, but I think they'll have to look at that.
He just did, right? I mean, that's what Trump does. He basically just directed them to do exactly what he said he didn't direct them to do. I'm going to disagree with my friends across the table here, actually. Surprisingly, Gretchen and I don't disagree.
So I know, this is how I know you don't know anything. You do not know anything. You come in the chat because this is where you get your attention and you type, 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 type. You're here saying, who pays the tariff? Oh, the American consumers pay the tariff because tariff is a fee that is what? Put on goods that are being imported into the United States, right? Because you send the tariffs to these countries and you charge them the tariff, and guess what? When they import it, the American consumers are going to have to pay for those tariffs, right? That's what you think. Now, let me tell you what tariff actually is. Tariff is a negotiation token. It's a token that you use to negotiate. You negotiate with tariffs. You can stop wars with tariffs. Guess what? Why did you think the president of Canada flew to Mar-a-Lago as soon as he heard tariffs? If all tariffs is, according to you guys, if all tariffs is what it's a fee that Americans are going to have to pay on top of the goods that they buy. That's what you guys think. Oh, you're going to increase the prices for Americans. Don't do that. Why did Justin Trudeau fly to Mar-a-Lago as soon as he heard tariff? As soon as he heard tariffs, why did he go to Mar-a-Lago? Oh, if tariff was so good for these guys, why are they calling the OG? Why is Mexican president, the lady, she was like, you know what? you can't bully us, blah, 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 blah. Why is she now trying to play ball with the OG? Why is she trying to play ball? Why is she saying that, you know what, we're going to stop the caravan. We're going to stop the caravan. We're not going to let anybody in your borders anymore. Why, if tariff was so bad? Because it's a negotiation token, guys. You negotiate with tariffs. And guess what? If you didn't know, how was the United States making money before income tax? Oh, yeah, of course. You're going to have to ask mommy that. How was the United States making money as a country before income tax? Talking about like a century ago. A century ago. How was the United States making money as a country before income tax? Go find out and come back to the chat. That's why I say only adults should be watching this live stream. Go find out how United States was making money before income tax a century ago. Taking economics in class is different from real life, bro. It's like saying, "Oh, I studied how to start a business in school. I know how to start a business because I studied it in school." Nah, that ain't it. You gonna have to start a business in real life. In real life. Studying how to balance shit on your textbooks is different from actually balancing this shit in real life. But I'll let y'all go do your findings, okay?
Much we do disagree on this. I don't think he should have resigned because the reason Trump gave for his resignation, the reason that he said that Ray had to go, was because Ray raided his beautiful home, or I forgot how he termed Mar-a-Lago, but Ray went and violated the sanctity of his home. Well, the FBI did that after requesting that Donald Trump return classified documents over and over and over again, and Trump didn't.
Shout out to Front Loop. Front Loop says Justin Trudeau did not agree to the tariff and is retaliating. You guys are about to become a state. Canada is about to become a state of the United States, the 51st state. The governor would be Justin Trudeau, and y'all talking? Man, look, you ain't got nothing to say. Because, newsflash, Canada compared to the United States, even the Canadians are saying, Trump, save us. The Canadians, bro. Canadians are saying, Trump, save us. Justin Trudeau is about to become a governor, not a prime minister. I'm telling you, y'all about to become the 51st state. The legendary OG, the 45th and the 47th. Just watch out, things are going to pan out. Nobody negotiate like this, dog. Nobody negotiate like this. China will play ball with the United States. Mexico, she will definitely play ball because over 75% of Mexico's export is to the United States. So what do you think if the United States say, you know what, we're not going to do business with you for 3 months? And you think tariff is one way. Oh, only America tariff its people. Only America is going to tariff Canada, tariff Mexico. America tariffs China, and all these goods is going to be expensive. No, they tariff us too. This country's tariff the United States. Tariff is not just a one-way deal. It's a two-way deal, bro. Like, y'all got to wake up and understand how the economy actually works. Stop listening to these guys. Like, Kamala comes on TV and say, tariffs are going to make everything so expensive. It's already expensive. You came into power, gas prices was affordable, groceries was affordable, and you didn't do any tariffs, right? Why are these things so expensive then? If you didn't do tariffs, though. Biden is saying, well, well, especially Kamala. Kamala is like, these guys are, look, if we put tariffs on their goods, they're gonna charge us so much money, and Americans are gonna have to feel the effect. Okay, Kamala, Biden, you guys didn't do and implement any tariff, right? Why is the goods so expensive? Guess what they're gonna say? They're gonna say price gouging. It's price gouging, everybody. They always have an excuse. There's always an excuse for the Democrats. There's always an excuse for the Democrats. There's always an excuse for the Democrats. Just by the mention of the president elect Donald J. Trump, guess what happened? Bitcoin went up to 100K plus. As of yesterday, it was around 96K. Guess what it is today? Just because the OG ranked the New York Stock Exchange bell, it's become 102. $102,000. Guess what? 7K increase in just like 10 hours? Trump's name. Trump is a brand. Let me tell y'all something. Trump, his name, Trump is a brand. Okay? It's like you want to go eat fast food, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, okay? Burger King, Zaxby's, or Wendy's, or whatever. The way you think about those guys for fast food, that's the way people think about nations around the world, countries around the world. Think about Trump, and they just immediately think about good economy. As soon as they think about Trump's name is synonymous to economy being great, and that's just what it is. Or else nobody would be trying to get a meeting with him, and he's not even the sitting president. This guy is a president elect, and everybody wants to have a sit down conversation with him. When have you ever heard that? Everybody goes to Mar-a-Lago like it's the White House. It's not even the White House. It's in Florida. It's not even in Washington, D.C. Yeah, Lord. Y'all have to wake up, bro.
So by resigning, effectively, what he did was he said, implied in some ways, that Trump was right, that he did something wrong. I would have stood there and said, Mr. President, if you want to fire me for doing my job, and the job that federal agents had to do because you would not do yours and return these documents, then that's your prerogative. You can fire me, but I'm not leaving because that
Yes,
looks
you're
like I did
fired.
something wrong.
Yeah, you're fired. Bye. Go.
It's possible.
Go.
As
You
David
are
French,
fired.
I think, argued in the New York Times today, that this move is purely strategic and not at all on moral principle, because if he resigns now, then Trump requires Senate confirmation to get his pick in. So it could be purely strategic. We don't know. But I want to bring it back to the enemies list you held up a few times already.
This is my thing, right? When somebody says, "Oh, this person is for the rich," do you plan on getting rich in this lifetime? Just yes or no. Okay. Do you plan on getting rich in this lifetime? If it's no, then keep your poverty mindset. But if you think in this lifetime and you believe to some extent that maybe, just maybe, I might work my butt off and get some money, and maybe rich, just maybe. But if it's a no, then keep on saying what you're saying. But if you think in your mind like, maybe I might become rich if I work as hard as I can.
One of the people on his enemies list is the famous radical left nut job, Bill Barr. Okay? So Bill Barr is someone that is too extreme for Kash Patel, and Kash Patel considers a part of the enemy deep state.
And Bill Barr, glad you brought it up, remember, said when he was in the Trump administration, the Kash Patel would serve as his deputy director over his dead body. So this is someone who knows his qualifications and thinks not very much.
But it's so ironic, Abby, because the revolution always eats its own, right? Bill Barr, who was an extreme attorney general and covered for Trump over and over and over and over again in the first term, now the revolution is eating its own, right? This is like the French Revolution where the people guillotining people are now guillotining themselves. And that's exactly what's going on here. I mean, when Bill Barr becomes too much of a rhino for somebody like Donald Trump, then that means eventually Kash Patel will be too much of a rhino because it's never enough.
So I'm supposed to trust. I don't know why my mic is sounding this way today. But okay. So I am supposed to trust the same people that said the economy is doing great. Bidenomics is working. Same folks that said these same words. Bidenomics is working. That said Joe was never going to pardon his son, even though we already knew he was going to pardon his son. It's amazing how nobody's actually talking about this guy pardoning his son. Of course, we knew he was going to pardon his son, but why say you're not going to pardon your son? Okay. I would never say anything like that because that's the first thing that I would do. You don't have to ask me. I'm doing it. Or in fact, I already did it. These same people who said the fact that he wasn't going to pardon his son means he's a good guy. He respects the Department of Justice. He respects the justice system of the United States, not like Trump. But y'all ain't talking about that right now, are you? Because you cherry pick. Look, there are things that both sides do that I would say, you know what, that's total BS. Told you, giving law enforcement immunity is total BS. Trump shouldn't do that. Like, why would you give law enforcement immunity? And guess what? He's now saying, yo, you know what? We're going to look into it. Maybe some people who do something really bad, we're going to look into it and not give them immunity. But that's total BS in the first place. Why would you even say you want to give law enforcement immunity? Because everybody makes mistakes, okay? As an adult, you have to take responsibility for your actions. So that is total BS said by Trump. Some people are loyalists and I guess, I don't know, never see anything wrong in what Trump says or what Trump does. I see, okay? The things he says, I'll be like, man, that's total BS. But Biden has done more BS. Total BS. And the OG. At least I know I'm going to get a great economy. I'm going to get a great border. I'm going to get peace through strength. I'm going to get peace through strength, okay? I know I'm going to get that at least. But you can't have high gas prices, high electricity bills, high utility bills, high grocery prices, inflation through the roof. The economy is in shambles, and people are saying, "Go check your 401k." Like 401k is what I eat every day. That's for your retirement, bro. They're gonna say, the border is in shambles. The border is in shambles, bro. Go ask Laken Riley's parents and the rest of these parents that are suffering right now. Go ask the people in Ukraine if they wish Trump wasn't the president. Ukrainians definitely wish Trump was the president because there was nothing blowing up when Trump was president. It's just what it is.
New this morning, it's the biggest act of clemency in a single day in modern U.S. history. That's how the White House is describing President Biden's decision to commute the sentences of nearly 1,500 people.
There you have it. There you have it. See, if pardoning his son is not enough, Biden's act of clemency announced today, nearly 1,500 sentences commuted. Hopefully, it's for people who didn't do, very outrageous crime. Well, they pressured him yesterday. They pressured him, some representatives pressured him in the Democratic Party. Of course, they're going to put racial situation into it. So for the Democrat, this is why I don't like these people. They always make it about racial and identity. It's about racial politics, identity politics for Democrats. They're always like, well, look at you, Genesis. You're brown skin. You voted for Trump. Why would you vote for Trump? You're voting against your own. It's like, what are you saying, bro? So I'm supposed to vote for you because you're brown skin, even though you're incompetent, even though you're not capable of doing your job. F all that. F all that. If you ain't capable of doing your job, I'm not voting for you. I'm not working with you, even though you're like brown skin, even though you're like the same color as me. Y'all like to do, I guess, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusiveness. It's like, yes, I get it, but you have to be capable. If you wanted to hire a surgeon to change your kidneys, you're not going to say, you know what, DEI. I need someone who is brown skin who can change my kidney. You're only going to ask who is capable of doing this transplant. That's all you're going to ask. You're not going to ask DEI. I'm gonna ask who is capable, even if the person is green or purple. Nobody cares as long as you're capable of doing your job. That's all that matters. Okay.
The president also issued pardons, 39 pardons, that is, to people convicted of nonviolent crimes. The decision comes on the heels of the controversial pardon he granted to his son Hunter earlier this month. Also today, speaking of pardons, President-elect Donald Trump tells Time magazine he plans to pardon Americans who stormed the Capitol on January 6th within the first hour of his new administration. That will undoubtedly come as a major disappointment to members of the January 6th committee who investigated the attack.
Everybody, welcome LB Things, Stuff, and More. LB used to tell me she was going to come back here and let me know that Trump lost. Told you, sister. Told you, my sister. Told you the OG was going to be the president of the United States. Told you, man. I told you, man, because people were fed up. Okay? You can't be the cause of a problem and then still be looking for the solution of the problem that you caused. No, let somebody else fix it because you caused it. Okay? There was no way Kamala was going to be the next president of the United States. She was part of the problem. LB used to be here telling me when Kamala wins, she's going to come back here and then she's going to tell me, I told you so. But sister, you know you're my sister. I'm never going to tell you I told you so. I'm just going to let it slide. And I'm going to tell you right now, enjoy the great economy coming your way and enjoy your money that you're going to be savings and enjoy your overtime, no tax on overtime. Enjoy your no tax on tips. Enjoy your safe border coming up. Enjoy your peace through strength coming up. Enjoy your affordable groceries, affordable gas prices, affordable mortgage, straight up affordable interest rate coming up. Just enjoy it, okay? Because I know you're going to enjoy it. I know you're going to enjoy it. I know you're going to enjoy it, okay? Everybody's going to have to enjoy the great economy coming up. It's coming up, guys. Just relax. Because this is how you know. Check the stock market and check Bitcoin. Look. And check the reception we're getting around the world. Everybody is now coming to have a conversation with the OG because everybody knows adults are back in charge. This ain't no falling off plane stairs, slipping on the stage, looking for the way out of the stage. No, this is F around and find out time.
Trump's comments come after he said in recent days that members of that committee, quote, should go to jail. Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Benny Thompson of Mississippi. He chaired the January 6th Select Committee. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. First of all, can we get your reaction to Trump's comments that these
Shout out to LB one more time. Like, this is what I like. I like talking to people. So LB says, get ready for crimes. Go to New York, bro. Someone just gone down the United Healthcare CEO. Is that crime? Yes, it's crime. Someone just on the subway with the whole tragedy going on in New York and around the United States, crimes have been going up since Biden took office. Nobody's going to talk about that. You're going to say, well, it's Trump's time, crime is going to go up. No, it's just because the media focuses on the bad things when this guy is in office. And I know this time is going to be different because everybody's just tired. Everybody's tired, man. We are all tired of BS. And the popular votes have shown that the people are really tired. The people are tired. People are absolutely tired. So you're saying incompetence. Tell me that Ukraine, Russia, Iranian people, Palestinian people, and Israel is not incompetence. Tell me that the way the border is being handled for the last 4 years is not incompetence. Go talk to Laken Riley's parents. New York has spent over $1.5 billion on illegal immigrants. Housing vouchers. Is that not incompetence? Like there are doodles on the road in California. Is that not incompetence? California has spent $25 billion on homelessness when the projection is it's $20 billion to solve the homelessness in the whole entire United States. Is that not incompetence? Even my daughter says yes. Like, you're gonna say all of this stuff. And then you're gonna say, well, get ready for incompetence, get ready for crimes. It's already happening right now. It's already happening right now. Why are you so bent on like seeing this guy fail? When your president has made everything worse. Like this ain't is it something we should be happy about to be anticipating the failure of an administration? No. This is Trump is the only person that people cannot wait for him to fail. Like you're begging God, you're praying, Lord Jesus, please let this guy fail, let him fail. It's like you're betting against yourself. You are in here. Can you just say, dear Lord, let everything work out, even though you know this guy is actually the real one, the guy that's gonna actually save your economy? You don't want it. You always pray for him to fail. Yet there was a incompetent guy falling off stairs, falling off the plane, falling off bikes, mumbling his words on the world stage, sleeping at roundtable conversations. Y'all didn't say nothing. Y'all were praying for him. You say it's elderly abuse when you talk bad about the president. God is his strength. But y'all don't want to pray for the OG. Person who actually brings strength to you. And that's what, there's a saying that truth is bitter. Okay, people don't like what is good for them. It's just like food. Nobody likes healthy food. Everybody likes junks because junks is what? Delicious, sweet in your mouth. Your guts likes junks, even though it's bad for you. You don't like healthy food. That's the same thing with Trump and Biden. Biden was junk. Trump is the healthy food, and you don't like it. You don't like it. I get it. I understand you.
January 6 pardons will apparently come right after he's sworn into office. He's saying within the first hour, maybe minutes.
Well, that's so unfortunate, Jim. As you know, what America and the whole world saw with their own eyes. You saw people breaking into the United States Capitol. You saw law enforcement being assaulted. And ultimately, we had several individuals who died because of that attack. And now, all of a sudden, the incoming president is talking about pardoning them, and they were heroes and patriots. And that's just not who we are as a country. And I wish he would rethink it, but obviously, he's already gone public to say that he would.
And as I mentioned over the weekend, Trump was talking about the January 6th committee that you used to lead. Let's play of some of what he had to say.
I think those people committed a major crime.
Sir?
And Cheney was behind it.
Well,
and so was Benny Thompson. For what they did,
yeah.
honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think
I think
should
everybody
go to jail.
anybody that voted in favor.
Are you going to direct your FBI director and your attorney general to send them to jail?
No, not at all. I think that they'll have to look at that.
Congressman, Trump is saying you should go to jail. Are you worried about him or the FBI coming after you?
Well, you know, we are members of Congress. We operated based on our direction from Congress. There are specific laws that give security to members of Congress, and I hope the president would take that into consideration. But to be honest with you, Jim, we've not done anything wrong. What we did was, in fact, what the law prescribed, what the resolution we were given, and we are comfortable with our report. There's nothing that we omitted in the report or anything like that. So being in disagreement with a person is not a reason to lock them up. This is the house where we debate issues, where we debate laws. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. That doesn't mean
you're wrong.
Illegal, and it doesn't mean that because you're wrong in the eyes of someone, you should go to jail. That's just so unfortunate, and that's not who we are as Americans.
And Congressman, apparently the White House is discussing preemptive pardons for people who may be targeted by Trump when he gets back in office. Do you want the president to offer some kind of pardon to you? As strange as it is to ask that question, I'm just wondering what you think.
Well, you know, the president, it's his prerogative. If he offers it to me or other members of the committee, I think I would accept it, but it's his choice. I think the staff of the committee, who did a wonderful job. I think the witnesses, who were primarily Republicans, did a great job under oath. We were not found to have perjured themselves or anything like that. There's nothing in the record that's not already on point. We've had 2 years of review by Republican chairpersons. They found nothing wrong. So there's nothing that we kept out of the record. There's nothing that we took out of the record. So we stand by the work of the committee. Our committee did a wonderful job. We shared it with the public, and all the public has to do is to read the report.
Shout out to Lil Dad, bro. Look, you need a profile picture, bro. So you say, why do you need a preemptive pardon if you're innocent? Because you ain't no innocent. See, look. Hunter Biden was pardoned. I guess he's innocent too. Huh? These people said he wasn't gonna get pardoned, but yet he got pardoned. I'm telling y'all, man. I'm telling y'all. The Democrat have no legs to stand on. Everything they believed, they've gone against it. You believe in law and order, you believe in the Department of Justice, you believe everything works out, you believe in the law, yet you pardon your son. You could have let the law took the center stage. No. That means you don't believe in the law. And they always say nobody's above the law. Even the president, even Donald Trump, he is not above the law. So Hunter Biden is above the law. It's you guys, at least for Trump, at least listen to me. Trump says what he's going to do, and he does it. He told you guys, I'm going to pardon January 6 people. And he's going to do it. Well, you guys say, I'm not going to pardon Hunter, and then you pardon Hunter. Stand by your facts. Like, stand by your word. Be a man of your words. Be a man of your words, bro. Stand by your words. If you made a mistake, say you made a mistake.
That we file based on our report.
And I do want to ask you about the FBI director, Christopher Wray, announcing that he's stepping down. What's your reaction to that, and how concerned are you that someone like Kash Patel looks like might be replacing him?
Well, you know, that's for the Senate to decide. Some of the comments that Kash Patel has said, I'd be very concerned about. I'm not aware of any weaponization of the FBI, law enforcement against anybody. My experience with Director Wray, he's been a straight up person. He's called it like he saw it. I didn't agree with him all the time, but because I don't agree with him, there's no reason to cast dispersions on him or say for whatever reason he needs to be fired. I think governance requires tolerance. In this instance, the governance is not allowing tolerance to prevail, and ultimately we'll see a lot of strange people appointed by this president.
Just wild how in the normal market, in normal commercial market in America, right? If you failed your audit one time, 2 times, you definitely will start getting funds, start getting calls from the IRS, and then you would get officially, you would have to pay back whatever you owe or whatever happens to you with the IRS. But here is the Pentagon. They've failed audits 7 times. The Department of Education has failed audits 3 times. And these are the leaders of the United States. These are the people we're supposed to be looking up to. And this guy is saying, allow tolerance. Allow tolerance. It's bad that this government would not allow tolerance. Tolerance? The American people deserve tolerance. They've been paying bills, working 2 or 3 jobs. Some people are even homeless. People are living paycheck to paycheck, trying to figure out what they're going to eat next week, how to pay their bills. And you're saying tolerance. No, the American people need tolerance.
Who only have as their mission is to keep him satisfied, and the rule of law may or may not prevail. As an individual who's been on Homeland Security, since its inception, I'm very concerned that the potential for the rule of law is at risk under the next administration.
You're worried about this administration going after political opponents?
Oh, absolutely. I take them at their word. Retribution has been a constant comment out of the incoming president's mouth.
He has never said anything about retribution. He said his revenge will be success. These people are like, they tell you A and it's B. You're saying retribution. Why did you indict a former president? You're saying retribution, retribution. He's never said one word about retribution. He said his revenge will be success. And he also said success will bring people together. Success brings people together. You could be fighting against, you could be against somebody, but I guarantee you, the moment you become successful, you guys are going to come back together. Like success brings people together. That's like known facts, okay? People fight, argue, bad mood when things ain't going right. But when things start going right, everybody's chilling, Gucci, everybody's happy. Success brings people together. Because there's nothing to fight over now. Okay, there's nothing to fight over. Mood is fresh. Everybody's feeling good because of success, okay? So, he has said the revenge will be success. I don't know why people can't just get that, like easy.
I've never heard an elected official other than the incoming president talk about retribution. You know, usually when you run an election, if you win, it's over. If you lose, there are certain avenues available to you, but at the end of your debate or dissension, you move on. We are the shining star for every other government in America to try to be like. Retribution doesn't make us look good as a government.
All right. Congressman Benny Thompson, the former chair of the January 6th committee, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning into the live stream. You know what time it is. Double tap your screen, subscribe to your channel. This is what kids do. They come in my page and say, you know what, he's going to deport you too. Well, I got my green card. I got my citizenship during Trump's term. So what else you got to say? So he made sure I became a citizen. Then he's going to deport me. I don't think so. But I'll be here waiting, just like y'all say Kamala was going to win the presidential election. I'll be here waiting after his next 4 years. And I'm going to tell y'all, probably then I'll be probably huge, like huge page or bigger than this. I don't know. You know, by God's grace, let's see what happens. But I'll be telling y'all the same thing I told y'all. Greatness is coming. Greatness is coming.
Officials with the NYPD tell CNN that CEO wanted posters have been seen around the city as fears grow that copycats could target other corporate executives.
Well, Jim, there is a real sense of nervousness and even fear in C-suites. Really.
Also, what do you guys think about this United Healthcare CEO that happened in New York, Luigi Mangione? What do you guys think about it? What do you guys think about it? It's like, first of all, people are supporting Luigi Mangione. It's because people are fed up. People are fed up of all these insurance companies that, you know, they're not like Joe Rogan says insurance is a dirty business. I do not support Luigi's action. I'm not saying he's supposed to take the law into his hands. However, if someone like Joe Rogan, someone as, I would say, more influential, someone who is much more privy to information than I would be, he's saying that insurance companies are just like, did I say scam? I don't think I said scam. I need to go find the exact word. He said insurance companies are Joe Rogan. Let me go find that word he said. Yes, he says insurance is a dirty business. It says Joe Rogan says it's a fucking gross business. It's a dirty business. And that's Joe Rogan. So nobody's supporting Luigi Mangione, okay? Nobody supports Luigi Mangione for what he did. He shouldn't have done that. That's just whack. You should not take the law into your hands. However, it's like, why are millions of people across the United States supporting Luigi Mangione and willing to pay for his lawyers, for his bail if possible? That's just wild. So meaning people are fed up with the insurance company. And if the people are fed up, your customers that you're selling the product to are saying they're fed up to the extent that they would support a killer over a CEO of an insurance company. It's like something has to change. That's wild. Now, there are posters of CEOs in the United States, in New York, with an X sign saying wanted. That's not good. That's bad. That's actually bad. Yet, people are supporting it because the people are fed up. This is bad. I would never support anything like this. Like, you shouldn't take the law into your hands. That is bad. Let the law take its course. Yet the people are supporting it. People are calling him the adjuster. People are calling him a legend, a hero. This is wild.
Across the country, this fatal shooting in Midtown Manhattan, not far from where I am right now, has been a real wake-up call for business leaders and for boards of directors. The security firms that are paid top dollars to protect executives, they say that their phones have been ringing off the hook ever since this news broke. One veteran security executive told me that corporate America is nervous, and he said healthcare is the target now, but who's next? And so, yes, companies are considering a range of steps to try to ramp up security, including reassessing the security protocols that are already in place and the budgets. They're increasing the number of security personnel and the amount of technology in offices and even in the residences of executives. They're urging executives to delete their digital footprints, including stuff like the floor plans of their homes and any information that's out there about where their kids may go to school. And they're also enhancing mail screening. There's also a sense that this killing really made it clear that companies need to extend the security blanket that exists for those top level CEOs down to their lieutenants, because there are a lot of massive corporations out there like United Healthcare that maybe the security for those division CEOs does not rise to the level that it does for the number one CEO, but perhaps it really should. There's also this growing concern about the risk of a copycat, both because of the positive reaction that this has gotten online and also the level of attention that this suspect has received. And New York Police Department intel report obtained by CNN's John Miller said that the online reaction to the killing may signal an elevated threat facing executives in the near term, with the shooting itself having the capability to inspire a variety of extremists and grievance-driven malicious actors to violence.
New York City's top prosecutor says there could be more charges against the suspected killer of the United Healthcare CEO. And he's also denouncing the growing support that we've seen from some circles for Luigi Mangione.
Celebrating this conduct is abhorrent to me. It's deeply disturbing. And what I would say to members of the public, people who, as you described, are celebrating this and maybe contemplating other action, that we will be vigilant. And we will hold people accountable. We are at the ready.
The Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg there making that promise after wanted posters targeting other healthcare executives were seen posted around New York City today. Joining me here tonight, Nicholas Florco, staff writer for The Atlantic, who argues in a new post, quote, "Murder is an awful answer for healthcare anger." And he joins me now, and it's great to have you because you also used to work for STAT, which is a healthcare publication, covers United Healthcare previously. So I understand you probably are deeply familiar with the anger that so many people feel towards the healthcare industry. But the idea that you people are using that to celebrate the murder of a father of two children is just kind of stunning.
It really is. I mean, I'm used to people being angry about healthcare my entire career. People have been angry about health insurance, about healthcare prices. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, the amount of outpouring of support for Luigi Mangione and the amount of hate going to the United CEO is just, it's unprecedented.
Yeah, but we've seen some people say, well, the reaction that we've seen to beef up security for these CEOs or to focus on that is them focusing on the wrong issue. But in looking at that, I mean, we're also seeing people put up wanted posters with their faces. I just want to show some people who maybe aren't, as prolific on social media as others, the reaction that we've seen towards the suspect here online.
This Ivy League hottie named Luigi is the Robin Hood that we never knew that we needed.
I listened to Luigi's Manifesto this morning 3 times and I cried. Honestly, it's beautiful and I agree with him.
At least he left a very powerful message and he highlighted how terrible the healthcare system is in America. I think he'll go down as a hero in history.
What does that say to you?
I mean, it tells me that people are really angry about the state of healthcare in this country, and that they're feeling kind of hopeless. I mean, to me, what it symbolizes that people are moving towards this, glorifying violence because they feel like something can't get done otherwise. I mean, I would argue, frankly, that is the absolute wrong way to go in every way possible. We know that nonviolent protest is more effective than violent protest, and I think we all should agree that killing a CEO isn't going to change anything to make our healthcare system better.
Yeah, and Senator Elizabeth Warren was facing some blowback today because when she was asked about this, she told the Huffington Post, the visceral response from people across this country who feel cheated, ripped off, and threatened by the vile practices of their insurance companies should be a warning to everyone in the healthcare system. Violence is never the answer, she said, but people can only be pushed so far. I saw some people saying, that should end it. Violence is never the answer.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Senator Warren has struggled with what a lot of us that have been talking about this have been struggling with, which is balancing both the fact that our healthcare system causes real harm and real suffering, and that murder is absolutely incorrect. The thing that I think is important to highlight is, unfortunately, Senator Warren is right in a lot of ways. We know from history that societies devolve into political violence when people feel like they are the victim, they see very clear inequality, and they lose faith in our democratic institutions. So I think the point that Senator Warren is making is right, that these factors can lead to violence. But I just think it wasn't said in the right way.
Did you hear from people that you used to speak with in the healthcare industry after you wrote this, or just given your past where you worked, what people inside that industry have said about this?
I mean, I think people are just scared. I mean, we're seeing the insurance companies taking their CEOs' photos off of the internet. We're seeing companies working from home. I mean, we've never seen anything like this. I mean, when you have people putting up wanted posters in New York City with people's faces on them, you have to wonder if they're right. They have to be careful.
Yeah, I mean, to see the wanted posters is quite something. To if you are one of those healthcare CEOs, to see that and targeting in that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you see it as anything but intimidation. And I mean, frankly, I think and I hope that people will see those and think this is awful, but it only takes one person to cause chaotic trouble.
Yeah, it's an important piece. I'm glad you wrote it, and thank you for coming on here to talk about it tonight, Nicholas.
I'm telling y'all, man, this is bad. This is absolutely bad. This isn't something we should be celebrating, but apparently people are celebrating it. It's like people are just tired, fed up, just want to see the people on top go down. Because it's like people are suffering so hard. People work 3, 4 jobs just to get by. Get it? I'm not justifying what Luigi Mangione did. However, people are just so fed up. People are fed up that they have to pay for insurance to get, checked. You need insurance to drive your car. You need insurance for your health. But it's like, even though you do pay for insurance, you may not be getting the best bang for your bucks. So it's like, if you're making billions of dollars, in some cases trillions of dollars in profit as an insurance company, why don't you give the people that are making this money for you, paying into your company to insure them, to protect them, why don't you give them the best care? They said the customer is always right. That's what it is. The customer is always right. But now your customers are saying they're happy that one of the top executives is gone. That's bad. If your customers that are supposed to be happy about your service, with your service, are not feeling remorse, any type of remorse for you, that's bad. It's absolutely bad.
The breaking news, an exclusive statement to Outfront from the brother of the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski. Tonight, after learning that the CEO murder suspect praised the Unabomber, David Kaczynski tells us, and he sent us this, he says, quote, "I love my brother, and turning him in was the most difficult and painful thing I've had to do in my life. But as much as I love Ted, I hate what he did to kill and maim his fellow human beings. Whatever you may think of Ted Kaczynski's ideas, and I do believe they merit thinking about, we must reject his harmful actions." It comes as we are learning more about the similarities between Luigi Mangione and Ted Kaczynski. And Jason Carroll is out front.
If Luigi Mangione speaks like he did outside court Tuesday, investigators listen closely, and not just to what he's saying now that he's in custody, but also to what he has said or written in the past, such as these unsettling words. "Violence never solved anything" is a statement uttered by cowards and predators. Mangione wrote that in January 2024 in support of the notorious Unabomber Ted Kaczynski. It's part of the Goodreads review Mangione wrote of Kaczynski's 1995 anti-technology manifesto, Industrial Society and Its Future.
We just hope that this might be of additional assistance in obtaining leads regarding the Unabomber suspect.
Kaczynski terrorized the nation for years. He served 8 life sentences for sending mail bombs that killed 3 and wounded 23 others from the late 70s until the mid-90s. According to an NYPD intelligence analysis report obtained by CNN, Mangione may have found inspiration in Ted Kaczynski. The report reads, he notably praised the writings of Kaczynski. Mangione liked several passages from Kaczynski's manifesto in his review, defending it, writing, "It's easy to quickly and thoughtless write this off as the manifesto of a lunatic."
I think Mangione is very much inspired by the work of Kaczynski and his manifesto.
Scott Bond is a criminologist who has written about serial killers and Kaczynski. He says he sees a chilling similarity.
They have to find a way to justify it. And in the case of Kaczynski and also Mangione, I believe that they justified it as this was a necessary evil.
Other notable similarities, both men highly intelligent and Ivy League educated. Kaczynski, a Harvard grad mathematician, while Mangione minored in mathematics at the University of Pennsylvania, where he also majored in computer science and engineering and had a master's. Kaczynski was estranged from his family, living as a recluse in Montana. Mangione's mother reported her 26-year-old son missing about 2 weeks before the shooting, telling police at the time she had not spoken to him since July. And while Kaczynski targeted universities and airlines, Mangione allegedly had his sights set on the healthcare industry and United Healthcare's CEO. Police found a 3-page handwritten claim of responsibility on Mangione. He also wrote in a spiral notebook, much like Kaczynski did, writing, "What could be better than to kill the CEO at his own bean-counting conference?" It should be noted that Kaczynski's brother, David, has spoken out in the wake of the shooting, saying violence is not the answer. In a statement to CNN, saying Kaczynski's actions were blind, misguided, cruel, and utterly inconsistent with his goal of preserving our basic humanity. We must remember that our world is never improved by violence, only by love. And Mangione also wrote that he didn't actually want to use a bomb against his intended victims because it could, quote, kill innocents. But it's important, again, to remember when you think of this case and the Kaczynski case, you have to remember what Kaczynski's brother said, that what his brother did, his actions were blind, that they were misguided, and then, of course, Violence, not the answer here.
No, but it's especially important in the context of the heroism that so many have bestowed upon Luigi Mangione in the wake of this. All right, Jason, thank you very much.
And District Attorney Alvin Bragg weighed in tonight on those who'd make a hero out of the alleged CEO killer. Here's what he said to ABC News.
Celebrating this conduct is abhorrent to me. It's deeply disturbing. And what I would say to members of the public, people who, as you described, are celebrating this and maybe contemplating other action, that we will be vigilant and we will hold people accountable. We are at the ready.
Well, it's unknowable who, if anyone else, might be contemplating the kind of action DA Bragg is referring to. As for the celebration of the crime and veneration of the suspect, that much is plain to see. More from our Randy Kay.
He's accused of cold-blooded murder on a New York City street, yet support for Luigi Mangione is exploding online.
If we let OJ off the hook, why can't we let Luigi off the hook?
On TikTok, the hashtag #FreeLuigi is inspiring videos like these.
We need to go ahead and get down to business and figure out how we're going to help my boy, Luigi. We need to put some money on the man's books, make sure he can have honey buns for days, okay, while he's in there.
This TikToker echoed frustrations, writing, "People are tired of being treated like a number."
People get into these jobs and positions and forget that these numbers that they're interacting with affects actual people's lives.
Others offering themselves up as alibis.
Listen, Luigi Mangione could not have killed that CEO that morning. I know because he was on a Zoom call with me organizing a fundraiser for kids and canines with cancer. Free Luigi.
The propping up of
goodness.
Mangione is so outsized, one TikToker even suggested Time magazine should make him their Person of the Year.
Free my boy, he didn't even do it.
Mangione has inspired merchandise too. Online retailers are selling free Luigi Christmas ornaments,
Free Luigi.
sweatshirts, and coffee mugs, one emblazoned with the words, "I'm in love with a criminal." Mangione's lawyer told CNN that people have been reaching out to his office, offering to pay Mangione's legal bills. He's not sure he'd accept the money.
Obviously, my client appreciates the support that he has, but it just doesn't sit right with me.
A legal defense fund has also been set up on behalf of Mangione. By Wednesday afternoon, the fund had reached over $30,000. Some of the anonymous donors included the words deny, defend, depose in their message. At least one referred to Mangione as an American hero. In Altoona, Pennsylvania, where Mangione was arrested at a McDonald's after an employee called police, support for him has given rise to threats in the community.
We have received some threats against our officers in building here. We've started investigating some threats against some citizens in our community. We're taking all those threats seriously.
The McDonald's is being targeted too. Fake reviewers online writing, "Never eating at this McDonald's again. Imagine going to grab a Big Mac and witnessing Officer Snitchy McSnitch, Employee of the Month, calling the feds on a hero," referring to Mangione. Another fake review reads, "Why go here when Taco Bell is just across the way and knows how to keep their mouths shut?"
Yo, good morning to everyone other than the person that snitched on my dog, Luigi. Like, didn't your mother teach you snitches get stitches?
Back in New York City, so-called wanted posters have turned up, possibly suggesting some sort of rallying cry. The posters show faces of executives and CEOs, including Benny Thompson, who Mangione allegedly gunned down. His is marked with a red X. It's unclear who is behind the posters.
Yo. This is wow. This is absolutely wild, guys.
Hi, Neil. Well, you heard him there have a meltdown as he went into court. It's a much different scenario than what NYPD investigators told me he acted like last night when he was working with them, but pretty silent. So the 26-year-old now facing murder charges, you can see him here on your screen, after police say he shot and killed a United Healthcare CEO in New York City. That mugshot just coming into our newsroom this afternoon. So on paper, Neil, Mangione looked like he had a bright future. He went to a very expensive and affluent high school. It's called the Gilman School in Baltimore, if we want to pull that up. He was an Ivy League grad and an athlete. He was well liked by friends, we're told, and he went to UPenn. Now he's looking at major time behind bars after this murder investigation. So Mangione was spotted eating a hash brown inside of McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. This was a wild break in the case. He was wearing a mask, but an employee there recognized him, said, "I think I've seen that person on those wanted photos," and called 911. Police show up. They tell him, take the mask off. They question him and ask if he had been in New York recently. That's when they say he got so nervous he started shaking and handed over this fake ID there on your screen, okay? It says Mark Rosario. That's not his name, but that's his picture. He used that same fake ID, I'm told, to check into a New York City hostel before the shooting, so he still had it in his pocket. Mangione also had a backpack with him in Pennsylvania when he was arrested. Inside was a gun they believe was printed on a 3D printer and a handwritten note that explained a possible motive, slamming the insurance industry. Police say that manifesto had this in it, saying in part, "I state plainly that I was not working with anyone. I do apologize for any strife or traumas, but it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming." So that's very disturbing, you know, to see that and hear that. And then you saw him freak out again. So he's continuing his message possibly about the healthcare industry. Investigators say they're going to keep working this case, Neil, and they're going to bring him back to New York no matter what. Neil.
But that could take a little while, right?
Yeah, it could take a little bit, but they said no matter what, they had those detectives out there yesterday trying to get information from him, and they hope that he's going to say something, or they can get that DNA swab, and then they could have to bring him back no matter what, whether he wants to or not. They could file it and bring him in.
I noticed he was losing inside of cameras here. Do we know what his behavior was like beforehand, whether he just acted up then and there, or do we know anything?
Yeah, so detectives, local police had also been telling Fox News and Fox News Digital when he was out there last night and he had been booked and brought back from the McDonald's that he was quiet, okay? He worked with the police. He didn't say anything. He didn't ask for a lawyer, but he wasn't causing a scene, and he stayed in his holding cell and caused no problems. Then they pull up today and start bringing him into court, and it's a completely different scene. He wanted to get that message, it looked like, straight out to the media. He saw the cameras. He really looks around when he gets out in that perp walk video and in this, and he started yelling to get his message out. So that's what police think this is all about, the United Healthcare industry and United Healthcare specifically, Neil.
Just incredible. Alexis, great reporting. Alexis McAdams. Joseph Kenny is here. Alexis, great reporting. Alexis McAdams. Joseph Kenny is here. You probably know the gentleman by now. The NYPD chief of detectives, you name it, it happens in this city. It gets his attention, and he hops on it. Before anyone, he was saying, we will get this guy. And sure enough, they appear to have gotten this guy. Chief, an honor to have you. Thank you.
Thanks.
He is fighting extradition, denied bail. What happens next, you think?
What happens is eventually he will be sent to New York City. We're working with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. A grand jury will be put together, and he will be arrested in New York City and charged for murder one.
What do you make, Chief, of what little we have learned about his background? He's a smart guy. He's valedictorian of a very prestigious high school class, top training, computer science, you name it. The world was his educational oyster.
What do you guys think will happen if he's been given a jury of his peers? Do you think he's going to be convicted if he's been given a jury of his peers? What do you guys think? Do you think a jury will convict this guy? Let me know in the chat, man. You think a jury will convict Luigi Mangione?
What happened?
From looking at the manifesto that we recovered, it appears, and looking at his Facebook and his social media, it appears that at some point back in July 4th of 2023, he may have suffered some sort of back injury. He was posting an x-ray on his social media showing numerous screws being inserted into his spine. Some of the writings that he had, he was discussing the difficulty of sustaining that injury. So we're looking into whether or not the insurance industry either denied a claim from him or didn't help him out to the fullest extent.
We don't know whether he was on some powerful painkillers or what.
As of right now, we don't see that in our investigation.
All right, now he was targeting, obviously, Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare. In fact, this was Mr. Thompson's last night alive. Tomorrow morning would have been the one-week anniversary of this horrific attack. But he was casing him and following him. Now, at first, there were thoughts, Chief, that maybe he was acting on behalf of others or that others shared his view. He almost looked like a hitman, the first reports we got. What do you make of what you've learned since?
What we have so far, it appears that this is a targeted attack. He is acting alone. We have him for several minutes prior to the incident, stalking the hotel, walking around the lobby. He's by himself. We're continuing our investigation. We have not stopped with this arrest. We're still working with the FBI. We're still working with Pennsylvania State Police and obviously Altoona Police Department, and we're looking to see if there are other people involved.
Chief, I know he was in Manhattan as early as Monday of last week, right? So, but he did seem to know, or could have found out easily, Mr. Thompson's schedule and where he was going to be. He was staying just across the street from the Hilton Hotel where he was gunned down. But could anyone on the inside there have shared information with him?
Once again, part of our investigation, but we know from what from looking at the manifesto that he had, that he was aware that this convention was taking place. And when we did our research, we saw that it was publicly sourced on their website. So he knew that this conference was taking place at that time.
So if it were another healthcare company or an insurance concern, was he particularly concerned about this guy or any past he had with United Healthcare in general? Do we know?
No, we're still looking into that, but he does mention this company specifically, and he does mention that he was going to come to this conference.
All right. Now, a lot of CEOs, Thompson was CEO of the biggest division of United Health, but his boss had security. He apparently did not.
We're hearing from family members and other employees that back in Minnesota, he did have a security detail, but for some reason in New York City, he chose not to.
So we know from his wife at the time that he was getting a lot of threatening phone calls. Do we know whether those calls were coming from this guy?
As of right now, they don't appear to be coming from him. He's received several different threats and taunts online. But once again, in this type of industry, you have a lot of disgruntled employees, a lot of disgruntled clients that take to social media to make these threats.
You know, we're so used to people forget that the Unabomber was a brilliant guy. I mean, he was going to Ivy League schools as a teenager. And the fact of the matter is some of the craziest have been also among the most brilliant. So they're hard to find. I mean, if you get the manifesto and get a sense of the manifesto, but how do you act on something like that?
Well, it's you know, he was a very smart individual, but you know, he committed a crime. Maybe he thought it was the perfect crime, but he did make some mistakes. We recovered some forensic evidence that he did leave behind, and you know, thankfully, a member of the public, you know, the big break in our case was making the investigative decision to put that picture not only out to New York City, but out nationwide, and very luckily made its way to Pennsylvania, where not only the McDonald's employee and customer recognized it, the police officer from Altoona, Pennsylvania, also recognized.
Yeah, it is interesting that it wasn't people who knew him who said, I know that guy. It was someone who could, from that picture alone, say, hey, this might be that guy.
Yeah, we received over 200 tips that we worked on, that we vetted. We aggressively looked at every single one of them, but not one of those tips named him.
What a remarkable job you and your men and women did just to track this guy down, and the cooperation you had with local authorities there and here. But you're confident he will be sent back to New York?
Very confident.
It could take 30 days, but
up to 30 days.
Chief, thank you very much, and to your men, many of them have been here. We appreciate that.
Correspondent Brian Yanis outside of the Blair County Courthouse in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Martha. Good afternoon. Well, that's right. Thomas M. Dickey, the attorney now for 26-year-old Luigi Mangione, said that his client will not waive his rights and will, in fact, fight this extradition to New York. In the meantime, he will be detained at the Huntington Correctional facility, where he has been now for about the last 24 hours. The prosecutor here in Blair County, Pennsylvania, said they do not intend to drop the charges that he is facing here, which have nothing to do with the murder in New York City. And he also said that they are moving towards that extradition, which could take something like 30 to 45 days to finally execute. Listen.
We're in the process now of securing a governor's warrant from the state of New York. And, you know, we'll be prepared when the judge schedules the hearing to do what's necessary to get him back to New York.
And as we've been playing that sound now for the last few hours, the 26-year-old suspect arrived in court today, obviously amped up. He had a message for the cameras, calling this an insult to the intelligence of the American people. This as we're learning more about Mangione's arrest at that Altoona McDonald's yesterday.
Shout out to everybody watching the live stream. You know what time it is. It is your boy Genesis. Double tap your screen. Let's get the likes up. Okay, so Mellow Waves is so funny. This is like the first time I'm seeing Mellow Waves on the live stream. So Mellow Waves says, why does he not want to go to New York? Well, the crime was committed in New York. If it's being extradited to New York from Pennsylvania, he would have to face the whole wrath of the law because that's where the murder was committed. But in Pennsylvania, he's not being charged with murder. Okay. In New York, he's being charged with a second-degree murder. All right. So, but in Pennsylvania, he's being charged with like carrying a gun without a license, fake ID, and all that stuff. But in New York, that's where the murder case is. So if he's being extradited to New York, then he's gonna have to face what they're accusing him of. But the ones in Pennsylvania is just like, carrying a gun without a license, fake ID, lying to the police officers, But yeah, that's why he doesn't want to be extradited to New York.
Yesterday, these new images show Mangione eating a hash brown in the back of the McDonald's while looking at a laptop wearing a blue mask. Here's Larry, who was having a coffee inside of that McDonald's yesterday morning. Listen.
I think the one worker that actually thought it was him, she said it between his eyes and his eyebrows. She says, when I took his order, it was like she got in her mind, oh my God, it's a guy from New York.
From our understanding, Mangione is still in this courthouse. Martha, the judge granting him time to get to know his new attorney, Thomas Dickey. Martha.
Okay. Brian Yanis, thank you very much.
News, Luigi Mangione, they are not waiving extradition for him, and his bail was denied moments ago. This happening. National correspondent Brian Yanis was inside the courtroom. He's now outside with us. What did you see and hear when in there?
Well, Sandra, Luigi Mangione came out in an orange jumpsuit, and he had his arms and his legs shackled. He sat at the desk there by himself for about 13 minutes before he was accompanied by his now defense attorney, Thomas M. Dickey. This is a defense attorney. The first time we've seen him. We don't know if he was appointed by the court or by Luigi Mangione, but he showed up there, and the judge gave them a couple of minutes to discuss this case. One-on-one, they spoke there in front of all of us quietly. We couldn't hear what they were talking about. And then at that point, this hearing began. And the big news is, as you alluded to before the break, Sandra, he is not waiving extradition. That means that he is protesting this extradition to New York City, which means that this could take about 30 to 45 days before he is ultimately sent to New York City to face those murder charges in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. This also, while we were inside, there was one moment in particular where Thomas Dickey was defending his client, and he was saying he deserved to be out on bail. The judge ultimately denied that. He will be in custody here at the correctional facility until he is extradited or until another decision is made. But the defense attorney was making the case here that he is not facing a crime that would keep him behind bars without parole. He says that Luigi Mangione does not have a prior criminal history. He said that the cash that they found on him could have been fake. And the lawyer, Dickey, he said ultimately those boxes of masks that police say were also found on Mangione inside that McDonald's. He said, well, quote, some people are still concerned about COVID. So those were just some of the defense points that were made. And while he was saying that, Sandra, Mangione tried to say something, and the attorney, Dickey, turned to Mangione and said, don't say a word. And then at that moment, he began to continue to defend his client. But that's some of the color of what happened inside moments ago.
Yeah, we're going to try to get back up here, but we're obviously seeing some activity here. Could see him again shortly. And to remind viewers, when he was walking in earlier, cuffed and shackled, he was a bit violent and threw himself up against the wall and yelled as he was walked in. He said this. We've got the tape. Let's watch.
Down.
Oh my God! And it's completely out of touch. And it's an insult to the intelligence of the American people and the lived experience.
This is completely unjust and an insult to the intelligence of the American people. This is a lived experience, Brian, is what he said. He has not come back out, to the best of our knowledge, Brian. He was brought in that vehicle on the right side of the screen there. But perhaps knowing how he entered, they might be a little bit more crafty getting him back into the vehicle.
Yeah, no doubt about that. That is true. They were crafty in moving him yesterday here to the courthouse, and we had a camera here to capture him walking in. But that's right. And now all eyes will be on what happens here, whether Governor Shapiro and Governor Hochul, what the DAs will do to try to maybe fast forward this process. But again, this is likely going to take at least 30 days before he is extradited to New York City. Sandra.
Got it. So we'll keep our eyes on that shot. The door opens every once in a while. We just saw some others come out. But we'll keep watching. Brian, thank you for your reporting.
All right, let's dig deeper on this. Let's bring in Bill Daley, former FBI investigator. So what do you make of what he said there? It was a bit of a rant as he was being led into the courthouse. He said this is extremely unjust and an insult to the intelligence of the American people. I believe he finished it off by saying this is a lived experience, which would seem to perhaps relate to experiences that people who are acquainted with him have relayed to the media, saying that he had had back surgery and was in extreme pain from time to time.
You know, John, this could be just a situation of him posturing himself, kind of knowing what's inevitable, that he's going to be facing proceedings, he's going to be facing a court, he's going to be facing a potential jury. And is it kind of posturing one way or the other? Is it posturing just because he's kind of acting out and maybe appears perhaps a bit erratic? Or is he kind of putting forward his innocence in some way? So we just don't know, but I think it is probably a calculated move by him. And we'll see how it all turns out. You know, meanwhile, the investigation, continues. And I think it is important for people to understand that all these elements of the investigation are very important, particularly because we need to make sure as investigators move forward, they're able to actually put Mangione actually on 54th Street that morning. Right now, we have a number of circumstantial pieces of evidence between the weapon that was found with him. Is that the same weapon that was used? There are a number of things, John, that need to come together in order to make this case more concrete.
Yeah, the only thing that we seem to know, I think with reasonable certainty at this point, is that the fake ID that he showed police officers yesterday in that McDonald's in Altoona was the same name that he had used to check into that hostel in New York City. We've now got that piece of video with subtitles on it when he was yelling to the press as he was led into the courthouse. Let's play that out for you now.
Down. Oh, back up. And completely out of touch. And an insult to the intelligence of the American people. It's a lived experience.
Yeah. So that is as we thought it was, or he said it's extremely unjust, insult to the intelligence of the American people. This is a lived experience, perhaps relating to his own experience, having had some sort of injury or surgery, and then dealing with the healthcare industry after that. What I find interesting is that this guy has an affinity for the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski. He did a review on the Unabomber's so-called Manifesto. And there are some interesting parallels between the two of them. They're both highly intelligent. Kaczynski attended Harvard at the age of 16. Mangione went to the University of Pennsylvania, another Ivy League college. Both of them were math whizzes, though Kaczynski got a PhD. Kaczynski had a disdain for technology. That should be D-I-S-D-A-I-N, for technology. Mangione had a disdain for corporations. Kaczynski dropped out of society. Mangione dropped off the radar of family and friends. I mean, here we have two highly intelligent people who apparently, according to police, went completely off the rails. In your experience, how does that happen?
Well, you just don't know what happens in people's lives. We just don't know what that switch that may have been thrown that took this person from a course of being an accomplished individual, a person of privilege, to now being a suspect in this heinous act. You know what? Yesterday we did speak about this, John, and I mentioned in a different way the parallel between Ted Kaczynski and the Unabombers, the fact that, who identified Ted Kaczynski was a family member. In this case, it was not a family member or anyone else he knew closely who came up and said, this is him in the photos. It happened to be a stranger in the McDonald's. So there are some parallels, and I think, it is interesting is that somebody who's highly educated, who is obviously, quite intelligent, there's something that happens along the way, and we just don't know what that is. But I think the
And the fact that this guy came from a well-to-do family, he came from a family that had substance, you know. He went to a good Ivy League school, Penn State. He's smart, he's bright, he's intelligent. So why would he have gone to this length to get this done? What happened to him? What made a person who was so good in his academics in school to go do something like this? I don't know. Life is just wild. It's weird, the kind of things that, you know, people go through in life. You never know why people do things. You would think this guy is like a saint. He could never do that. Like, this is why you have to be careful around people. You have to look and understand that anybody is capable of doing anything in this world. You have to be open-minded to that facts, because you never know. People are going through a lot of stuff and they just switch like that, and you're wondering what happened. Why would he do something like that? Why would she do something like that? It's because life is life. Things like this have been happening for years, for decades, for centuries. Person that you think is like supposed to be a disciple of Jesus in your mind, it's like this person is like great. Like, this person can never hurt an ant or a roach. Person may be able to take somebody's lives. So it's like, you gotta be careful, man. You know, be kind to people, because you never know what people are going through. They may just retaliate in a way that you would never understand. It's like, why would you do that? It's like, and they'll be like, they don't know. People are just, sometimes people are just tired, man. All right,
First up tonight,
updates.
significant new developments in the murder investigation of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Police now say fingerprints and shell casings from the scene of the shooting all point toward the suspect, Luigi Mangione.
Oh.
Let's bring in CNN's Shimon Prokop as he's in New York with details. Shimon, we're also learning more about Mangione, losing contact with his family and his friends in the months leading up to the shooting?
Yeah, in the months and really even the weeks just before the shooting. And what we're learning from law enforcement sources, Wolf, is that on November 18th, when his mother reported him missing to the San Francisco police, she told him that she had been calling him repeatedly and that he wasn't answering his phone, he wasn't picking up. But also significantly was that his voicemail was full and that she was not able to leave a message, not able to make contact with him. Since July 1st, Wolf, that is what she told police, that for months she had been trying to reach her son and she was unable to reach him. Believing that he was working at a place in San Francisco, she called the San Francisco police asking for help. Now, what she also told police was that there was no reason for her to feel that he was going to do any kind of harm to himself or to anyone else. And it's unclear, Wolf, at this point, what other actions the police took. But this is significant because it shows that for months and months, he had sort of gone quiet. No one was able to get a hold of him, and his family was so concerned that they finally went to the police trying to get help. What happened after that is simply unclear at this point, Wolf.
Yeah, very, very unclear. We're also learning, Shimon, more about what was written in Mangione's spiral notebook, right?
Yeah, so this is a multiple-page spiral notebook with handwritten notes allegedly made by Luigi Mangione. And in it, Wolf, it's been described by sources to CNN as a to-do list as he prepared for this shooting. This is what we're being told by law enforcement sources. It describes a motive. It talks about how the reason he wanted to do, allegedly, the shooting was because he wanted it to be targeted. He wanted it to be precise, and he didn't want to risk innocent people. There was talk about potentially a bomb, we're told by sources, but he was concerned, allegedly, that he would harm innocents. The other thing, Wolf, in this spiral notebook, we're told, is that he said that he wanted to, quote, whack the CEO at the annual parasitic bean counter convention. And police believe that that was the convention that he was at, the conference that he was at, Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare here in New York City at the Hilton Hotel. So all of this for law enforcement is certainly painting a wider picture, putting this puzzle together with all the evidence they have now, gathered, Wolf.
Very interesting indeed. Shimon Prokupecz, thank you very much. I want to bring in our legal and law enforcement experts for some analysis. Chief Ramsey, let me start with you. Mangioni's fingerprints and, excuse me, and gun both pin him to the actual scene of the crime. Just how crucial is that evidence for the case?
Well, it's very crucial. I mean, this is the first scientific evidence now that they have. They have the firearm, they have a fingerprint. There is still DNA that is yet to be tested, but they're able to put him at the crime scene. So that is crucial. Right now, they're working very closely with the district attorney's office to really carefully, build this case, making sure that all the evidence, everything that they need is right there for a successful prosecution.
Candace DeLong is with us as well. She's a former FBI profiler. Candace, you just heard about Mangioni's spiral notebook. As a former FBI profiler, what picture does this paint for you about him and his psyche?
It is not at all unusual for people committing certain types of crime, including murder, to write down their thoughts, to write down their plan. Regarding what I think was going on with him is considering his history, his past, his incredible line of successful academics and sports. He had a circle of friends. He was admired and respected. And then he does this. I mean, he gets a graduate degree, a master's degree from an Ivy League school. And then this happens. He kind of goes off the rails. And because of my background as a psychiatric nurse, what that makes me think of is this fact. A lot of mental illnesses, minor, moderate, and severe, emerge in the late teens and early to mid 20s. And it seemed like this Luigi had everything going for him and then almost became another person and did something very much out of character.
Yeah, he certainly seemed like another person than he was growing up. Ariva Martin, you're our legal commentator. Taking all this together, all this new evidence against Mangioni, how does he mount a credible defense? Can he claim insanity?
Well, it's going to be very difficult, Wolf, to make a credible defense given the overwhelming amount of evidence that has been assembled by law enforcement in this case. We have the forensic evidence. We have the gun being matched to the casings from the gun. We have the fingerprints. We have this manifesto of sorts, as you will. We even have what police believe to be an admission from him. So it's going to be very difficult, although what his lawyer is saying that they're going to fight extradition and that, according to him, he hasn't seen any evidence that ties Mangioni to the murder of the CEO. But clearly there is a mound of evidence that's going to be difficult for this defendant to overcome.
You're absolutely right. Candace, it's pretty striking that Mangioni's mother hadn't heard from him since July and didn't report him actually missing until November. What's your read on that?
Well, of course, I don't know what their behavior with each other was like prior to that, but obviously not hearing from him concerned her enough to go to the police. It occurred to me, and she's not the only one, close friends and also said he kind of dropped off the radar for a while, not prior to last week. And that it occurred to me that is probably when he went, for lack of a better term, radio silent with so many people that were important to him, was when he decided that he was going to do this. And he just didn't want to talk with anyone.
Yeah, he certainly didn't. Chief Ramsey, how does that new timeline from Mangioni's mother fit into the investigation into his background and potentially his motive?
Well, I mean, all these things fit, and that's what detectives are doing now. They're trying to piece together the complete picture. And I think they're probably pretty close to doing that now, but they've interviewed friends, they've interviewed relatives, they've obviously reviewed hundreds of hours of video there in New York, all the evidence that's been collected so far. So all that leads to a picture. Beginning when he first arrived in New York, 10 days prior to the actual murder. All of that is going to be a part of what they're building now that'll be presented in court during trial.
As investigators pore over the subject's writings and social media posts, we're trying to get a better understanding of what Mangione may have been dealing with in terms of his health. Let's bring in CNN chief medical correspondent Dr. Sanjay Gupta. He's a practicing neurosurgeon.
This is just sad. Absolutely sad. Luigi Mangione is definitely going down at this point.
Who operates on the brain and the spine. And Sanjay, Mangione allegedly claimed in handwritten notes that he was suffering from spondylolisthesis. Well, you can explain it to how you say it. It means a slippage of the vertebrae in the spine.
Yeah.
Tell us more about it, how to pronounce it, and how it affects people.
Sure, yeah. So this is what we're gathering from some of these reports. We haven't confirmed this, but spondylolisthesis is the term. And let me just show you, Jake. I pulled this spine model here so you can take a look at this with me. But so this is the spine going all the way up to the neck, down to the thoracic spine, and then the lower back, and this is your sacrum over here. So with spondylolisthesis, you might have slippage of the bone over here, kind of moving forward on another bone. So it's just basically, instead of lining up perfectly like you see it in this model, one of the bones sort of slips out a little bit forward. And that can be painful for various reasons. It can be painful in the back because of that movement of the bone. It can also cause leg pain if one of the nerves in that area starts to get encroached or pinched by those bones moving around as well. So it's a fairly common condition. I mean, just back pain overall, 65 million people roughly have that in the United States, and there's a lot of operations performed for this sort of thing. Again, we don't know for sure what exactly was going on with him, how long he had this sort of problem. Sometimes people are born with issues that can lead to this sort of problem later on in life, but it's quite common, actually, Jake.
Posts from a now deleted Reddit account that does not list Mangione's name, but it closely matches many of his biographical details, including his age, where he went to college, his health condition. These posts talk about having undergone spinal surgery. And we believe Mangione had posted this x-ray image on Twitter or X, although authorities have not yet commented on the image and there's no confirmation. This is an x-ray of Mangione's spine. But we're all just, trying to make sense of this horrible, senseless moment. But looking at that picture, what can you generally tell us?
Yeah, so again, with all the caveats you just mentioned, if we put that spine picture back up again, and I'll show you the model here in a second to sort of correlate that. But basically, when you have the slippage of the bones that I mentioned, one of the things you try and do is basically fuse those bones together so they stop moving. They stop actually slipping back and forth one on the other. So a couple of screws, the upper screws going into one of the bones, the lower screws going into the sacrum that I was just mentioning, and basically just trying to hold that together. That's a fusion. That's a fusion operation. I can tell you, we're just looking at one image here. It's usually not enough to really conclude exactly what's going on there. I can obviously see the screws. The screws look like they are actually extend a little bit further than normal, but we don't have all the images to be able to tell exactly what that is exactly doing. Again, if you look at the model here, it would be essentially putting screws into this bone over here and then screws into the lower bone to try and hold that together, Jake.
Internationally now, true crime stories have inspired countless TV shows and films and podcasts. The real-time intrigue and outrage around the murder of...
You guys think his back surgery was associated with this? You think so? I don't know, man, because he came from a well-to-do family. There's no way he was denied claims or whatever. He went to University of Pennsylvania, Ivy League school. So it's like, why would he be denied coverage? But you never know. You just never know why people do what they do. However, he did it. According to the evidence, they're saying he did it. This is sad, guys. And the fact that he was bright, smart, intelligent, had a future, bright future ahead in front of him, and this happens. Too sad. Absolutely sad. Hmm. 2024, man. We're seeing a lot in 2024. Now, I know you guys heard Jay-Z was he was somebody sued him for raping a 13-year-old girl. Literally, Jay-Z. So Jay-Z, DD, a lot of stuff going on in 2024. 2025 is about to be on another level.
United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson is something that we have not quite seen like this before. We turn now to Joan Donovan of Boston University, who recently wrote a book called Meme Wars, the untold story of the online battles upending democracy in America. And we're also joined by David Smith, a healthcare economist who hosts the podcast, The Cost of Care. Joan, in terms of the response to the brutal murder of a father of two, a husband, the CEO of United Healthcare, how do you see the moment in our culture that we're experiencing right now?
Yeah, I think that, social media has really come alive in this moment because this case really marries two things that really do well on the internet, which is true crime and memes. And so even the message that was left behind at the crime scene of deny, delay, depose is set up in such a way so that the internet would bite and be able to circulate all kinds of stories. And I think that the deepest resonance has been that many of us, it's almost a universal that we've experienced very high cost healthcare and at our most vulnerable points have been denied coverage. And I think that's resonating with a lot of people.
And David, you have your own personal stories of loss and frustration with the healthcare system after the deaths of your father and your sister and your brother. What was your response to the praise for the murderer and the loathing for the insurance industry? And I realize those are two separate things.
Yeah, well, look, Jake, it's unfortunate. Obviously, somebody lost their lives. Kids are going to grow up without a father. He's leaving behind friends, family, and everything. To Joan's point, you can absolutely understand this moment with social media. There's a lot of people that are using this channel and this event to really express grievance. Grievance about the system, grievance about the way they've been treated in the system. And that grievance is born from the fact that each of us puts $15,000 a year into this system. We spend $5 trillion on this system collectively, and people go bankrupt. They're met with wrong doors. They're met with indecision. People are angry. They're fed up with the system, and they're alone. People feel alone in this. So suddenly there's an event. There's this opportunity for people to come in and express that grievance. It's the wrong way to go about systemic change, but it absolutely highlights something in the culture that's been sitting under the surface for a long time that this is brought to the fore.
Yeah, something very real, which is why we have you two on the show right now to discuss it. Yeah. Joan, there are a range of reactions here from the sinister, such as these wanted posters of other CEOs that were put up on Wall Street, to complaints about people's personal frustrations with how their own health claims, insurance claims were handled. I'm wondering if the online culture that is fueling some of the worst of this is, obviously it's distasteful, but it is also bringing forward a discussion that, maybe Bernie Sanders and Liz Warren have been trying to have this conversation nationally for years and years and years, but this moment is really bringing it beyond politics.
Yeah, I think it's really truly a universal experience, and it really hits at these bipartisan lines where you don't have to be, Republican or a Democrat to have suffered from lack of health care, especially at moments when you are at your most vulnerable. And what we try to point out in the book Meme Wars is more about the conditions under which we get political violence. And political violence happens in moments when people lose faith in institutions. And so it's also very clear that what is also being expressed on social media is a loss of faith in who is going to hold these companies responsible for these incredibly exploitative policies that do leave you feeling very alone and isolated at moments when you also might feel like you are, or a loved one is about to die. And I think that hopefully we can start to have, of course, a more mature conversation about that, while also looking towards justice for those who've been harmed by not just the violent attack, but also by the lack of really good health care in the United States.
And David, quickly, if you could, what is your 1 or 2 sentence recommendation for people out there who are frustrated with the health insurance industry? How should they be channeling their anger?
Better understand the system. There's tons of resources to get a little bit smarter on it. The system needs reform. This is the wrong way to start a conversation, but to Joan's point, it's a conversation we have to have. We need to get smarter, we need to activate, and we need to blow the system up because it's failing too many people. It's costing us too much.
Brian Thompson has exposed simmering anger at corporate America, with some even sympathizing with the suspect, Luigi Mangione. Brian Todd is joining us right now. Brian, all of this is deeply troubling for corporations worried about the security of their top executives.
Right, Wolf, and the security posture for top corporations has changed dramatically since the shooting. And that's happening at the same time that support for the suspect has grown so much that it's translated into marketing opportunities. A banner hangs on a Baltimore overpass reading "Deny, Defend, Depose." Those words, which police found on shell casings near where United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was gunned down, are now appearing on merchandise for sale online. The phrase could be linked to a 2010 book critical of the healthcare industry titled "Delay, Deny, Defend," which has risen to number 2 on Amazon's nonfiction bestsellers list.
It's just shocking to me that we have seen this level of public outpouring of support for what is essentially a cold-blooded public execution.
Amazon has been trying to pull that merchandise from its website for violating company rules, a source tells CNN. But items with that phrase remain on sale on eBay, which tells CNN the phrase itself doesn't violate the company's rules, but items that glorify or incite violence do. Tonight, this is all part of a growing backlash against corporate America, and specifically the healthcare industry, in the wake of the shooting.
For many, many years, people have become increasingly frustrated with private insurance. Too many denials of requests for care for themselves or their loved ones.
But it's not just healthcare providers feeling the heat. Following the capture of suspect Luigi Mangione at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and the reporting that an employee there had called police, the restaurant's pages on Google and Yelp have been flooded with negative reviews. Mangione's fans on social media have exploded.
Our hero, our vigilante.
He is a natural magnet to attract deep complaints about a broken private healthcare system.
And Mangione's attorney says people have even come forward to offer help paying his legal bills.
Obviously, my client appreciates the support that he has, but I don't know, I'd have to look in, but it just doesn't sit right with me, really.
Outside the New York Stock Exchange, posters were put up praising Thompson's murder with a red X across his picture. Other posters singled out another executive. The NYPD, in an intelligence report, says it believes Thompson's murder was a, quote, symbolic takedown and could inspire others to commit violence against business leaders.
The threats that are facing corporate leaders today are significant because they are the face of the organization.
United Healthcare now has security fencing around its headquarters. CNN is reporting that many corporations are now scrambling to protect their senior executives as police warn them of elevated threats.
I think that there are people out there who hope that this will scare companies into submission. I just think that's foolish. It will certainly scare them into hiring more security.
One prominent corporate security firm told CNN that within the first 36 hours of the shooting of Brian Thompson, they received 70 requests from companies for added security for executives. A top official of that security firm telling us it is a huge wake-up call, that the mood changed dramatically in a very short period of time.
Very worrisome indeed, Brian Todd. Thanks for that report. Let's discuss what's going on with Kevin O'Leary. He's an investor on the television show Shark Tank and the chairman of O'Leary Ventures. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. You said this outrage towards health insurance companies should be a major wake-up call for them. But if their incentives are to grow their profits, sometimes at the expense of people's health, do you trust them to meaningfully reform?
I think they have to. I mean, this is
Quite a backlash. This is the power of social media. Corporations saw this first in the Anheuser-Busch Bud Light case, where they lost $6 billion worth of market cap in 6 weeks. They'd never seen that before. This is occurring because people are frustrated with the appeal process in all health insurance. And so what the executives have to do with United Health, and frankly the whole industry, is appeal to reality and say, look, it's on us now. We understand you're unhappy. I mean, this murder, this assassination is horrific. There's nothing good to be said about that, and there's lots of problems with it. But at the end of the day, what it's leading to is the frustration of the users of healthcare, and everybody's affected by healthcare. They should be coming out now saying, look, we get it. We have families too. We're people. We have children. We care about what you think about, and we're going to automate this process and make it better, or do whatever they have to. That when you appeal a case, it's not a delay situation. And if you have a valid claim, you get paid out. That's what insurance is supposed to do. But putting a fence around headquarters, hiring more security guards, that's all bad imagery, Wolf. It's all bad, and it's not the right answer.
As you probably know, a Kaiser Family Foundation survey found that about 1 in 5 insured adults dealt with healthcare claims being denied last year. People are sharing stories online of their claims being denied for surgeries, cancer treatments, and major health issues. What do you say to them?
Well, there's probably valid reasons to deny, but if it's set up so that you just can't appeal it in a way that is cost effective because you can't afford to hire a lawyer, particularly in an expensive surgery, it doesn't matter. At this point, social media is now the jury, and it doesn't like what it sees. So if you're an executive, in interim management, United Healthcare, or any other health company, you got to read the room, Wolf. You got to read the room and realize right now that the public is turning against you. They are your customers, and they don't like it. Now, this poor man lost his life, horrific. But if anything good is going to come of this, it's going to be policy change, because you've basically got people lighting up their torches, just like in the Frankenstein story, and going to the castle, and they're going to burn it down. And you gotta hear that. So if you're an executive saying, get me more security guards, wrong answer. That's just wrong. If you don't understand what you have to do now to get in front of this thing and say, look, it's on us. We hear you. We hear you. We hear you. And we're people too. We'll solve this problem. Here's how we're going to do it. This goes back to the Tylenol case. You've got to get in front of it. And so far, I've seen no reaction. It's a bad thing, Wolf, bad. So if you're out there and you're an executive, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
The suspected CEO killer, Luigi Mangione, has the same type of upbringing as so many corporate executives. He's from a prominent family. He went to an Ivy League school, the University of Pennsylvania. He worked in tech. What do you make of that?
Mental illness at play. It has to be. No one person 3D prints with a polymer tactical weapon. And by the way, that story in itself is very disturbing. I mean, that to actually use a weapon like this, 3D printed, if that's the case, and use it effectively while you're walking, those that can shoot pistols competitively know how hard that is to do, with a silencer on, which makes it even less effective. I mean, this is a stunning story in itself. But if he's not insane now, he will be after he spends the first 6 years in solitary confinement. It's a horrifically bad story for his family. This poor man, and I think law enforcement has found their perp, as they like to say, is in for a horrific ride. It's just, this populism around him is not right, first of all, but it's what we pay. You know, there's this concept of lunatic fringe. If you want to have freedom of speech on social media, you got to deal with this kind of stuff, which is 2.5%, 3% of people doing this, but it's wrong. But for this poor man, there's no question in my mind, there's a mental illness here. He was estranged from his family for months, and then he does this. This makes no sense, but I don't know what to say. You know, I feel compassion for his family, but I don't endorse what he did. This is just wrong. He will pay a horrific price in his life for this, and that's just the way it is.
Kevin O'Leary, good to have you in the Situation Room. Thank you very much for joining us.
I want to go now to Thomas Dickey. He is the defense attorney for...
Thanks for tuning into the live show. You know what time it is. It is your boy, Genesis. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. Okay, Luigi Mangione we've seen, we've heard. And Ashley says he has accomplished his goal in his opinion. Ashley says Luigi has accomplished his goals. Yeah, people are calling him a hero. People are saying this guy is the adjuster. People are saying that he should be protected, that a lot of people with different ideologies, man. A lot of people with different ideologies. You just never know. People have different mentality, and it's like people will support anything. Now, for this right here, of course, insurance companies. People don't like insurance companies in the first place. However, this is where we are. This is where we are. All right, on to Biden. Okay, Biden pardoned. Well, I'm gonna let y'all see, cause man, this man called Biden.
Some breaking news this morning. President Biden putting his pardon power to use, just announcing he is commuting the sentences for over 1,500 people, including pardons for 39 people convicted of nonviolent crimes. To put it in context, this move is seen as the largest single-day act of clemency in modern history. This big unveil, of course, comes on the heels of Biden's full and unconditional pardon of his son Hunter that got so much attention. This is likely to as well. CNN's Arlette Saenz has much more for us from the White House this morning. Tell us more, Arlette.
Well, Kate, President Biden is using one of the remaining tools available to him in his final days in office to grant clemency to a wide swath of individuals. The president saying that this boils down to trying to give people a second chance. Now, in all, the president is commuting the sentences of nearly 1,500 individuals, the single largest act of clemency in a single day. To put that in perspective, the previous record was set by President Barack Obama when he commuted the sentences for 330 individuals in the final days that he was in office. Now, the White House says that these individuals who will be impacted were placed on home confinement during the COVID-19 pandemic. And the White House says that they have shown a commitment to rehabilitation and reintegration into their communities. On top of that act of clemency, the president is also pardoning 39 individuals who had non-criminal charges that they had faced, or not violent crimes that they had faced, and that includes drug offenses. Now, the president in his statement had said, quote, "America was built on the promise of possibility and second chances. As president, I have the great privilege of extending mercy to people who have demonstrated remorse and rehabilitation, restoring opportunity for Americans to participate in daily life and contribute to their communities." Now, it comes as President Biden has faced significant pressure to grant more clemency in his closing days in office. There are some who are pushing for him to take several dozen inmates off of federal death row. But this pressure for more acts of clemency really has heightened since President Biden had issued that full and unconditional pardon of his son, Hunter Biden, which really drew fierce backlash from Republicans and Democrats in the president's own party after the president for months had said that he would not do so. Now, an administration official said that the president's pardoning of his son doesn't really impact his view overall on the clemency power. They say that he's been committed to that as president. He believes it's a way to make the country a bit more just, also in some ways to try to deal with some of the wrongdoings of the criminal justice system in the past. And this is unlikely to be President Biden's final act of clemency. He did say that he is planning to take more steps in the final weeks that he is in office.
America was built on the promise of possibility and second chances. That's Joe Biden's message today as he commutes sentences for nearly 1,500 people and pardons 39 others convicted of nonviolent crimes. My panel is back. Priscilla, you cover the Biden White House. What more can you tell us?
Well, the president had been under increasing pressure to exercise his clemency power, and that is exactly what he did today. In fact, this is the biggest single-day act of clemency in modern history. So this is a large number of people. You mentioned there are 1,500 individuals who he commuted their sentences. What we know about them is that they were in home confinement during the pandemic. And in those 39 individuals who were pardoned, they have shown, according to the president, a commitment to rehabilitating and to also sort of giving back to their community. So that is how they have described these. We are getting some names and some details as to who they are. That includes a military veteran, a nurse, an addiction counselor. And he also previewed that there will be more actions to come. But of course, this comes on the heels of his own pardon for his son, Hunter, a full and unconditional pardon that, of course, sparked uproar. We've also been reporting about some preemptive pardons that may be in the works, given concerns among some officials about being prosecuted or gone after when Donald Trump takes office. So it's all happening within that context, but certainly there are a lot of groups who have been calling for the president to do more on this, and they did get a big act on that front today.
One of the interesting things is that Joe Biden was one of the supporters of a very controversial 1994 crime bill that is seen as having fueled mass incarceration. He himself has conceded that he felt, some regret about that. And so a lot of this historic number of pardons definitely kind of comes from a lot of that regret that he has expressed over his presidency.
But can we talk about the Hunter Biden thing? Because, of course, the news this week was that Anita Dunn had a former top staffer of his, very loyal, came out and said, well, she didn't oppose the pardon itself. She opposed the way it was, in which it was done.
Can we listen to part of what she said?
As we were in the midst of the president-elect rolling out his nominees, and in particular, in the middle of a Kash Patel weekend, kind of throwing this into the middle of it, was exceptionally poor timing, and that the argument is one that I think many observers are concerned about a president who ran to restore the rule of law, who has upheld the rule of law, who has really defended the rule of law, kind of saying, well, maybe not right now.
Let me just also give context that I know you're all aware of, but for our viewers to know. Anita Dunn and her husband, mostly Anita Dunn, has sparred with Hunter Biden and his attorneys over a lot of things, but particularly communication around all of the troubles that Hunter Biden and the attacks that he has been the subject.
Well, and she made it clear when she was speaking that this wasn't done from inside the White House, folks. This was done by the family and the personal lawyers, not the official White House counsel, et cetera. So she clearly distanced the White House from all of that. And, she made the point, which I think is well taken, which is who was thinking about the timing of all of this? When you sit inside that White House, you have to think about when you do certain things. And as she pointed out, it was in the middle of this rocky rollout of cabinet appointees. And she was sort of saying, well, why step on that? Why step on that when Trump is getting some bad press? Leave it alone.
Yeah, although perhaps Kash Patel, the fact that he was picked, accelerated the announcement because...
Could have been.
Could have been. We don't know for sure, but we're going to do more reporting on that.
Of course, they don't know for sure. This is the thing with the Dems. They say something and then they do something else. This guy was known to be a good guy who doesn't act like Trump because Trump, apparently they say Trump is above the law. Well, I guess Hunter Biden is above the law at this point.
New this morning, it's the biggest act of clemency in a single day in modern U.S. history. That's how the White House is describing President Biden's decision to commute the sentences of nearly 1,500 people. The president also issued pardons, 39 pardons, that is, to people convicted of nonviolent crimes. The decision comes on the heels of the controversial pardon he granted to his son Hunter earlier this month. Also today, speaking of pardons, President-elect Donald Trump tells Time magazine he plans to pardon Americans who stormed the Capitol on January 6th within the first hour of his new administration. That will undoubtedly come as a major disappointment to members of the January 6th committee who investigated the attack. Trump's comments come after he said in recent days that members of that committee, quote, should go to jail. Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Benny Thompson of Mississippi. He chaired the January 6th Select Committee. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. First of all, can we get your reaction to Trump's comments that these January 6th pardons will apparently come right after he's sworn into office? He's saying within the first hour, maybe minutes.
Well, that's so unfortunate, Jim. As you know, what America and the whole world saw with their own eyes,
Yeah, we already saw this. We already saw this. We already saw this, guys. Let's see. Somebody said talk about Jay-Z. What do you guys think about Jay-Z issue going on? First of all, let's talk about the drones in New Jersey. Drones in New Jersey. What is going on? So, according to the congressman, he says the drones are from a mothership. That's Van Drew. Congressman Jeff Van Drew says the drones are from a mothership that is stationed in the eastern part of the United States, and it's an Iranian mothership that is deploying these drones. Jeff Van Drew, House Judiciary Committee, is saying that these drones are from a mothership of an Iranian whatever stationed in the eastern part of the United States, and they're deploying drones to New Jersey. Isn't that just crazy?
Welcome back. Mysterious drones continue to fly over New York and New Jersey with few answers coming from the Biden administration. How is it possible that the Pentagon doesn't know? I'm not buying it. Local government officials continue to evade answers as far as the origin of these drones. They're being compared to the Chinese spy balloon that flew across the entire country last year. Meanwhile, a Chinese citizen living in Los Angeles is under arrest this morning for allegedly using a drone to take images of Vandenberg Space Force Base in Santa Barbara County. Joining me now is Gatestone Institute senior fellow and the author of Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America, Gordon Chang, back with us. Gordon, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. What is your reaction to these drones? Do you think these drones are Chinese drones surveilling America?
These drones and this activity is too large, too well organized to be the work of lobbyists. And that sort of leaves foreign powers. And it could be Iran in connection with China. But clearly somebody is trying to absorb our attention. And Maria, the thing that really worries me is that if they're trying to draw our attention to these drones, the question is, what are they doing elsewhere in our country? So we could very well get hit. And by the way, I don't think that Chinese national should be put through the civilian justice system. This was a military violation. Person should be in a military brig because clearly the civilian system can't process these people properly and quickly enough, and we need to take them off the streets.
Well, I mean, this has been weeks. You know, at this point, it's really not right that the Pentagon has not given us more information as far as these drones are concerned. Of course, everyone's going to just start speculating. We need some real answers from the Pentagon to really understand what's going on. I mean, the fact that China is surveilling America is not a secret. Everyone knows that that the surveillance programs are in place. And they're, once again, around our military bases. But we're not getting any answers from anybody. Meanwhile, President-elect Trump reportedly inviting Chinese President Xi Jinping to attend his inauguration next month. This is according to CBS. Trump invited Xi back in early November, right after the election. This invitation comes as trade tensions intensify between the U.S. and China over proposed tariffs. The move would place a 25% tariff on Canadian and Mexican goods, plus an additional 10% tariff on imports from China. Xi Jinping has warned the U.S. against renewing a trade war, saying that there will be, quote, no winners. Chinese authorities are considering a weaker yuan heading into 2025. Beijing says it's even willing to plunge deeper into debt and use stimulus needed to counter Trump's plans, Gordon. So you've got a lot of conversations, economic conversations underway between China and the United States. And yet it's all in the face of these surveillance programs in our face. Your thoughts on President Trump inviting Xi Jinping to the inauguration? And, you know, you don't know where Trump, nobody knows where Trump is in terms of all of these issues. I mean, he's tough on things like tariffs, and then he invites Xi to the inauguration. I think that's all by design. What do you think?
It probably is. But remember, This is a Xi Jinping who deliberately spread COVID-19 beyond China's borders, killing 1.2 million Americans. This is a Xi Jinping who each year, with malice aforethought, kills 70,000 Americans with fentanyl. This is a Xi Jinping who runs a regime that steals $500 billion of U.S. intellectual property each year. This is a Xi Jinping who flew that spy balloon over our country last year, over our nuclear weapons sites. The question that I'd like to ask is, regardless of what Trump's strategy is, why should we invite such an individual to the inauguration?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know. I mean, we haven't gotten a comment from President Trump on why he extended this invitation, but we know that China is ramping up its war on the United States. I mean, certainly semiconductors, it's taking aim at NVIDIA. Beijing launched an antitrust probe into the U.S. chip maker just 1 week after Washington curbed China's access to high-end semiconductors, Gordon. Look, they make chips in Taiwan. Is that why China is doing what it's doing? Your reaction?
Well, first of all, you know, with the attack on NVIDIA, really this shows that there's no rule of law in China. They're just doing this in retaliation for what they don't like that Trump might do to them. You know, so clearly, you know, the Chinese, they complain about decoupling. Well, the point is that countries and companies are leaving China because of what China is doing. There is a sustained assault on American and other foreign companies. And these companies need to get out of there for many reasons. And one of them is that China is determined to destroy their businesses.
Yeah, and I think, you know, people understand the CCP tactics. You wrote an op-ed this week where you say China is targeting Morocco to control the Mediterranean and global trade. Break that down for us, because I don't know that people understand the tactics.
Trump inviting Xi Jinping to the inauguration on January 20. In my opinion, that's actually a bold move, because this guy is known to be what they're trying to take over the world trade. They're trying to make their currency the most dominant currency. So it's only right you have a conversation with him. You know, you shouldn't. This is what the Biden administration did. They never spoke with any top leaders in the world. They never spoke with Putin. You know, it's like, no, you talk to the people that are known to be another part of the world's power. Okay, you talk to people, you become a diplomat. And this is why I like Trump. He's going to make Xi Jinping conform to what he wants by opening the doors to conversations. Xi Jinping really just wants a conversation. He's just making mouth and doing BS. Really, he wants the conversation with the big dog, Trump. Okay, he wants the conversation with the big dog, Trump. And that's what he's going to get. And that's why Trump is extending an invitation to him to come to the inauguration. And if he does come to the inauguration, that would be the first time in history another world leader comes to an inauguration in the United States, especially China. China, bro. Who everybody knows, like, the world power is United States, China, Russia. Okay, India. So if China comes to the inauguration on January 20, the game has changed. And everybody, that's like a testament to every country on earth that the United States is back. Basically, that's what it is. Because if Xi Jinping appears on the inauguration date with the legend, the 45th, the 47th, do you know what that means? Shaking hands, bro. Man, stock market is going to go all the way to the roof. First of all, stock market goes all the way to the roof. All your fears of tariffs goes down in the drain. Goes down the drain, because he's just proven to everybody that Xi Jinping is going to work with us. And that's wild.
Tactics used globally to corner markets that the CCP does.
Yeah, Morocco is a trade bridge connecting 3 continents. It has the only U.S. free trade agreement with an African nation. It is a member of an EU trade agreement and part of an African Trade Federation. So clearly it is very important for Xi Jinping, who needs to export more to the world. And he can do that by getting inside Morocco and thereby avoiding the tariffs that Trump is talking about imposing on Chinese goods that come directly from China. So Morocco is critically important for us. It is the first country in the world to extend diplomatic recognition to the U.S. Trump had great foreign policy in his first term in trying to work with Morocco. So I think that we can counter what China is doing. But the other thing is that Xi Jinping is in Morocco because he wants to help Iran close off the Mediterranean Sea, and we should not be allowing him to do that. So I hope that Trump puts Morocco at the top of the agenda in his first term.
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll see how this relationship.
No. Like, what do you mean by you want Trump to put Morocco at the forefront of his agenda in this first term? No. The forefront of his agenda is the people of the United States, the people that voted for him, not no Moroccans. Nah, man. No shade to Moroccans, okay? I love everybody in the world. As far as you are on planet Earth, I love you. But America first, people. What do you mean put Moroccans first? Morocco is in another part of the world. Americans voted for Trump, so he should focus on Americans first.
Relationship plays out. But most people, including Christopher Wray, who's now resigning, will tell you that China is our #1 adversary. I think Trump knows that, and that first dinner that he had with Xi Jinping years ago at Mar-a-Lago, he dropped that news that they were sending 13 strikes to Syria, and that was also by design. He did it during dinner and chocolate cake, so maybe that's also part of his thinking in terms of inviting Xi to the inauguration. You know, starting soft and nice, but then dropping the news of sanctions or, you know, or more tariffs.
Well, you mentioned Syria, and in the Middle East, the perception is that Trump really is trying to make nice to both the Russians and the Chinese because he wants to make a deal instead of confronting them. And it's not playing very well in the region. So I hope that the region's got this wrong. But we've got a problem in the Middle East because of Trump's outreach to China and Russia.
All right. We will be watching that angle for sure. Go to
That's the thing. Like, these people always think Trump talking to Russians or talking to Chinese people is like bad for business. No, it actually shows how strong he is. Look what happened when Biden never had a conversation with Putin. Ukraine and Russia happened. But if someone talks to these people don't want to attack anyway. They're just trying to show that they have some sort of power. So when you do have a conversation with them, you become a diplomat. Because if you're not a diplomat, how can you really rule the world's strongest country? How can you rule the world's strongest power? The world's highest power, which is the United States. Everybody knows that. So it's like, we need a diplomat, and that's what we have in Trump. He wants peace through strength. How do you show your strength? Talk to people and let them see reason that if you don't do what I'm telling you to do, you don't want smoke with me. Okay? I'm not going to be deploying munitions to your country. No. I'm not going to be sending you money to fund the war. No. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to tell you what you need to do. Okay? We don't want wars. We want it's a thriving economy worldwide. That's what the OG does.
This time, we have no evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign entity or the work of an adversary. We're going to continue to monitor what is happening. There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones.
Okay. So you've heard her. She's saying there's no mothership launching drones. Yet, man, you can never believe these people, bro. Yet this guy right here says there's a mothership launching drones. All right, let her talk and I'll play you the other video.
No evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign entity or the work of an adversary. We're going to continue to monitor what is happening. There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
If you don't know what they are, how can you say they're not a foreign adversary?
Our initial assessment is that this is not the work of a foreign adversary or a foreign entity. That is our initial assessment.
Thank you, Jennifer Griffin, for asking that question. It's exactly right. How do you know it's not a foreign adversary if you don't know what it is? The Pentagon, they're denying the New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew's claim yesterday that reliable sources told him Iran is responsible for these drones in the air. These are mysterious drones that have been flying over New York and New Jersey now for weeks, and the Pentagon has no answers. The drones are being compared to the Chinese spy balloon that flew across the entire country. Well, much of the country was stopped in the Carolinas last year. Very few answers from the Biden administration, along with local government officials on this. Joining me now is former State Department spokesperson. She is the founder of Polaris National Security. Morgan Ortega's back with us. She's also the host of the Morgan Ortega Show on Sirius XM. Morgan, it's great to see you. Thanks very much for being here.
Thanks, Maria. You too.
These drones are really... I mean, it's a mystery. I think it's absolutely terrible that the Pentagon has offered us no information whatsoever. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you said it best when you compared it to the spy balloon that traversed the country. And remember that this administration, because of that incident, sort of lost a lot of credibility with the American people. And I understand why people are suspicious because, you know, they sort of said, no, you're not seeing a spy balloon. No, it's nothing. Oh, it's fine. And then people literally watched it traverse the country. So when it comes to these drone incidents in New Jersey, here's why I'm concerned. Last year, almost 1 year ago, we had 3 service members killed in Jordan. They were based there in Jordan through these sophisticated drones. We know that for years, I wrote about this in the Wall Street Journal of September of 2022, for years, Iran has been using sophisticated drones, shipping them to Russia for them to use against Ukrainians. And of course, now Iran has armed its proxies in the Middle East with these drones, and they have actually killed American service members. So we don't know that it's Iran, but what we do know is when you look at the battlefields around the world, drones are a daily use of warfare between Russia and Ukraine, and vice versa, of course, and between Iran and its proxies. So this is the new age of warfare, Maria. This is what we're going to see in future warfare going forward. You're going to see drones, and many of them now are sophisticated enough to carry payloads that have weapons on them that can kill U.S. service members.
Well, I mean, and my thinking, I'm leaning toward it must be China, just because I know the surveillance programs are so significant out of China. But the fact that the Pentagon isn't telling us anything, I don't understand why. I mean, is it because the next question would be, well, all right, it's China. All right, it's Iran. What are you doing about it? And they're not doing anything about it. Shouldn't these drones be shot down if we don't know what they are?
Yeah, so what we're seeing is that the U.S. military in the Red Sea, for example, does have to shoot down sophisticated drones that are launched by the Houthis that have payloads and weapons on them. And unfortunately, Maria, we're using some of our most expensive arsenals, tools in our arsenals, like TLAMs, for example, in order to shoot down these relatively inexpensive drones. So there's probably not a lot of good options right now for homeland defense of these drones. I do know that there's a lot of emerging companies that are out there that can detect and destroy these kinds of drones. But the U.S. military so far is not enabling the use of those new technologies on our ships, on our aircraft carriers, and so we just haven't been able to use the new technologies. And instead, we're using really expensive technology in the Middle East to shoot them down.
Morgan, if they don't know, if the Pentagon does not know who these drones are, who's behind these drones, then they're more inept than I thought. Yeah. Wouldn't you say they have to know who it is? They're just not telling us?
I've been in government for about 20 years, Maria, and I would say incompetency over conspiracy almost every time.
What are you saying? Do you think they know or not?
No, I think, I don't know. I'm not looking at the intelligence. I can just tell you there's not good options for shooting them down.
Okay. That's important to understand. President Biden.
Basically, they don't know what it is. Okay. They don't know what it is, and they don't know what to say. They're saying it's not Iranian mothership deploying drones. But listen to this guy right now. I want you guys to listen to what this guy said. And this is the guy that they are objecting.
We have objects in the sky that are the size of an SUV over any city, over any state. It's an invasion of our airspace. In focus now, Republican Congressman Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey, member of the House Judiciary Committee on the Hill right now. How do you address this at this point?
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. You know, I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. And from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Now, you know, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyist or hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. Know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down. We are not getting the full deal, and the military is on alert with this.
Look, you've given us some pretty dire information just here, and I want to make sure that our viewers are digesting this. Iran has the capability to pull up along our eastern seaboard and launch drones the size of an SUV into the skies of several states, particularly New Jersey, where we know the incoming president has a large home, also in the same county or nearby where some of these drones in New Jersey have been seen. That capability exists. It's possible some of those drones are here. So I have two questions. How are they fueling them? They have to land somewhere. Drones don't fly forever. Why don't they close down the airspace? Yes, it's inconvenient. Yes, it's the holidays. Shut it down. But if you start shooting things and you don't know how they're fueled, that's going to be mass explosions. This isn't like one spy balloon. Congressman, this is serious.
We've got to bring them down, and we've got to find a way to bring them down. I don't know exactly where they're landing. Obviously, I have some information. And again, this isn't just Jeff Van Drew. Oh, let's get on Harris Faulkner's show and say something outrageous. I'm telling you the straight deal from very high positioned individuals who are telling me this. And the bottom line is they're launching them. They are across the country. We don't even have anything like this. No. Our government and also certainly our hobbyists don't. So think about it. It's not only do I have the information, but it's also common sense. We've got to get them down. We've got to determine how they function, what they do, make sure that we can get them, and you're right, in a safe way. When I say shoot them down, get them down any way that you can, but right now they're probably extracting information. This is a clear and present danger to the United States and to our president-elect, and it's a serious business.
Well, and if one of them happens to fall and they're fueled, that explosion could kill people. I have to let you go, Congressman, but I'm so grateful for your time.
You have it. There you have it. This is wild and strange.
New Jersey lawmakers ripping the Department of Homeland Security, leaving a briefing with no answers on the source of the mysterious drone lighting up the state's skies. This as the Pentagon is denying claims they were sent by foreign enemies. Here to react, retired Army General Anthony Tata. General, you know this space very well. And when I hear the Defense Department denying while still allowing the drones to fly, I just feel like the feds know something they don't want us to know. What's your take on it?
Well, I think there's that, and there's just sort of a lack of concern. You think of the loss of trust, faith, and confidence in the FBI, the DOD, Homeland Security, the intel community. Think of all the misses the intel community's had from Afghanistan, Taliban, to Russia, Ukraine, to Israel. And so what are they missing here, and what are they not telling us? And the good news is, Lawrence, that President Trump has picked Pete Hegseth to come into DOD and Governor Noem and the DHS, Cash and the FBI, Tulsi Gabbard into the intel community. Great picks that are going to restore trust, faith, and confidence in the way that these agencies operate and focus on the missions that they're supposed to do instead of all this extraneous stuff, because the people don't know what to believe right now. You've got congressmen, getting in fights with the DHS. You've got the commander of Picatinny Arsenal, where we manufacture and do research on ammunition. We store ammunition there. 12 confirmed sightings, 18 possible sightings. You got McGuire Air Force Base, which is a strategic power projection base that also has sightings down there. So what's going on and where are these things coming from? They could be coming from a ship that's parked off the coast or in harbor. That it could be coming out of a container, and it could be a merchant ship. It doesn't have to be a warship or a mothership. It could just be a couple of containers full of drones, and the rest are Barbie dolls. And we need to think creatively, and we need to understand what the intel community knows, what the FBI knows, because I don't think that right now DHS or DOD are really focused on anything.
No, they're not, and they don't feel like they need the answer to us as well, General. Hopefully that's going to change in about a month or so. Thank you, General.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning into the live show. Element 1964. Element 1964 says, "What happened to America's balls?" You can say that again. Well, don't worry, Element. Adults are back. You just have to wait like 37 days or 38 days, okay? Adults are back. This is wow.
Andrew, who is calling on the government to shoot down those drones. Congressman, Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary Sabrina Singh directly refuted your claims today. She essentially called you a liar about the drones that they're connected to Iran. Listen to this, and I'm going to get your reaction.
Sightings that have been reported. At this time, we have no evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign entity.
Andrew, who is a Republican from New Jersey, was just on the air saying that Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones, and that mothership is off the coast of the east coast of the United States. Is there any truth to that?
There is not any truth to that. There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
Congressman.
Okay. There is no Iranian ships launching and deploying drones to the eastern part of the United States. So what is it? You say it's not a mothership. So what is it then? Do you want to tell us what it is? Nope, you don't.
Your reaction to her.
Well, I don't know where they're going then. Let's really think this through real quickly. We know that, I hope we know, that it's not the United States government that is putting these drones out there. Either that or they're lying to us. We know it's not a backyard hobbyist because they don't have the ability to do this. They have no kind of drone that's for sale that's this large, and no company in America is producing drones like this, nor would they put them out. So we know all the things that it's not. They tell us nothing. They've given us no information. I had highly placed individuals who were whistleblowers that came to me that are involved with this issue, that have high security clearance but don't want to use their name, and I don't blame them because they don't want to get in trouble and they don't want to affect their jobs. But the bottom line is they have real concerns. It may be Iran, it may be China, but here's the deal. Iran.
I thought he said it was Iran. Now I say maybe it's Iran, maybe it's Chinese. Let's listen.
Does have a mothership. It is now not at this point in Iran where it usually is at the port, and it's somewhere else. And here's the other deal. We know that these drones are flying in and out of the ocean, so they're leaving, and the Coast Guard has reported this. They are going into international waters. They're leaving the mainland United States and going into those waters. They're not pontoons where they're landing. They've got to be landing on some kind of a ship or something. Most of all, I can't believe that these whistleblowers would lie to me. And you know what? Megan, I hope that they're wrong. But if they're wrong, then tell us what it is. The bottom line is our government is saying we don't know what it is, we don't know where they come from, we know nothing about them. We won't take one down to figure out what it is so that we can analyze it. But don't worry. It's like going into a doctor's office and you've got a severe pain in your chest and you're doubled over. The doctor says, I have no idea what the hell you've got, but don't worry, everything's going to be okay. There's something wrong here.
You're calling them whistleblowers, so I'm just wondering, are they asserting that there is a cover-up going on here, or that things are known that should be shared but aren't being shared? I mean, why do you call them whistleblowers?
I call them whistleblowers because they are saying what they believe to be the truth. They've come to me. They don't want to be anonymous because they are concerned about their futures and their jobs. And they have told us information that we didn't have. We do know that China and Iran have been dealing with drone technology, and that China has been selling Iran drone technology, and that they do have it. And we do know, obviously, that Iran hates us. So I am saying that this is something that really has to be evaluated. It very well may be true. If it isn't, I'm a happy guy. But they came to me, they told the truth, and these are not some backyard, people at a barbecue who are looking up in the sky and seeing drones and inventing things. These are highly placed, reputable individuals with high security clearance. These are real people, and that is enough to make me have concern. And it should also concern people that we have no idea what's going on. And by the way, it should concern people that we are 10 years behind China in our technology. That's a fact. I spoke about it in committee today, that we have holes in our radar system where we can't even analyze these drones and record them as well as that we should, and we're not analyzing our airspace properly either. We've got a lot to do, man. We got to start paying attention.
This is something I don't understand too. Even if we were behind China, why would you say it on national TV that, look, guys, listen, world, we are behind China? Why would you even say that in the first place? Like on national TV, and then China's watching you say you're behind them. Of course, they're gonna deploy whatever they want to deploy because they know you don't have enough gadget to defend yourself because you have said that you're behind them. That's just mind-boggling to me. Why a congressman that represents the United States would say on national TV that we are behind China when it comes to warfare. We are behind China. Like what? Can you just? That should be a locker room talk.
To the real issues in this country, which is keeping us safe.
Right. Drones were swarming Langley Air Force Base for 17 days late last year. Big mystery to the Pentagon. Earlier October last year, 5 drones were swarming a nuclear site in Nevada. Where is the Pentagon, Congressman, other than doing nothing? Jeff Andrew, Congressman, we got to go. But please come back. Keep us posted. We'll have.
Thank you for tuning into the live show. You've heard it. Look, why is it now that the 45th, now the 47th president-elect is becoming world topic? He's becoming the world conversation and is going to be the president of the United States by January 20. This is when you have drones circling cities, circling places, circling communities that you would wonder what is going on. Is it because the 47th is coming? Is it because Trump is coming back? Or what is going on? What is going on here? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the live show. Thank you. Double tap your screen, subscribe to the channel. Instead of looking for perfection, seek for consistency. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on your dreams. Never give up on God. Believe in yourself. Believe in your dreams. Believe in God. Okay, it is your boy Genesis one more time. And we have come to the end of the live stream. Don't forget to subscribe. I will be back here. We're going to talk about more information, talk about the drones as well. And we're also going to talk about Luigi Mangione. And we're going to talk about the legendary the 45th and the 47th. And just let me know, man. Let me know. Did you enjoy the show? Put it in the chat. If you enjoyed the show, put it in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in. Life is hard. Stay strong. Don't give up on yourself. Never quit. Never ever quit. And just stay optimistic, man. Stay optimistic. And there is going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. Stay strong. God is love. God loves you. And I am rooting for you. Milo Wave says, what about Jay-Z? Yes, we're going to come back here and talk about Jay-Z. Facts. We're going to come back here and talk about Jay-Z. I know you want to listen to the updates on Jay-Z, Mellow Waves. Subscribe to the channel. Double tap your screen. And we're going to be back here to talk about Hove. 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 My name is Hove. Shout out to Hove. But is going through a lot of things right now. Hove is definitely going through a lot of things right now. So Mellow Waves, man. Double tap your screen. Subscribe to the channel. We will be back here for Hove and Didi and J-Lo and Beyonce and everybody. It's funny how all of these people wanted Kamala Harris to win. So all of these people wanted Kamala Harris to win, and then now they're being indicted for some BS. Life is hard and it's unfair sometimes, but who knows, man? Who knows? Shout out to Dank, Chris Peterson, Mellow Waves, Highlights at 11, Jackson 21, Element 1960. I can't find that name anymore. But Element, you know yourself. Love Heals. Shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to everybody for tuning in. Thank you to the moderators, Average Joe, Mr. Booski, Zima, everybody, man. Thank you so much. Chris Peterson says, did Jay-Z, did he do what Diddy does? Man, I don't even know what you mean, but look, I gotta go. It is your boy, Genesis, one more time, and I'm out of the premises.